Oh, I've got absolutely nothing. Um, we were video chatting. I figured we could move it here. I fucking
Hey,
hate Facebook's video chat. I hate Facebook's calls. I don't know how Facebook can be the biggest data mining entity besides Google on Earth, and they can't figure out how to not have a phone call drop. I mean,
because they're not in there for the quality, man. All they're in there for is to log you coming in, logging you coming out, see where you're at, see who you associate with, and see how much fucking money you may be spending one place or the other if you happen to use their little money
but you
feature.
would still think that, given that they're selling data and that's their business model, you would think that they would want to deliver a product that people use to get more data.
They're not charging you for it. They don't give a fuck.
No, I know, but
They're gonna get what they can get.
they make shit loads of money.
They make a huge amount of money, but if you actually look at the Facebook app itself, it's running in the background 100% of the time,
You
and it
know what?
doesn't shut down.
Yeah, you're right. That's why they don't. They're listening to you anyways. They don't need you to use that.
Yeah, and unless you're bright enough to go and have enough time to go into the code, you're not going to find it, man. And it's some bullshit. I mean, it's so invasive. It's
It
some
is.
chicken shit bullshit.
Well, it's just straight up illegal. I mean, I uninstall my Facebook app from time to time, and I use a VPN. I mean, I do all the things except for not use the service. But
You know, it's,
uh, Telegram. I started talking about Telegram. It's
tell me about Telegram.
I'll send you an invite to Telegram. It's do you have WhatsApp?
I do not, but I can get it.
But you know what it is, right?
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like it does what Messenger does, but better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. You can.
Oh, you care?
You can send videos and shit. You can send videos. You can do voice call, video call. It doesn't drop. It doesn't boop boop. It doesn't do that shit. What's in that?
Bourbon.
Yeah, but Telegram is like WhatsApp, except it doesn't steal all your information. So I'm encouraging people to get WhatsApp or to get Telegram instead.
Well, I'll check it out. Normally, whenever I get these apps, I go digging through the power settings and all of that to see what they're actually doing. Some of them are pretty legit, and then there's some. I get this little. Remember the old Atari games like Tetris and Pong and shit like that? Well, they make the new ones for the cell phones here, and they're fucking brainless. They completely mindless games, but I actually enjoy them from time to time. And I go in and I pulled one in. So what?
A little bit of stress relief.
Yeah, it is a reset. It just you let your mind go blank and you play the fucking game, and then you go back to work or dealing with whatever bullshit you're dealing with.
And what were you saying about that though? You look into them.
I look into them for the power settings. You go in and you look at the data.
Does the power setting refer you to privacy shit?
Well, there's a reason for that. It doesn't. It's not necessarily privacy, but you can look and see how much power it's actually using. And if it's using a lot, if it's one of the ones that's actually pulling from your battery, you can check it on Android 8 and Android 9.
This is why I fucks with ISTPs. This is why I fuck with you guys. Hi, Alexander Cruz. Go on. I'm looking at my shit right now. If it uses a lot of battery, it's probably beaming back and forth.
Yeah.
I do know that. What were the two they tested? LinkedIn and
LinkedIn
Patreon.
is a pig.
LinkedIn and Patreon are the two I remember off the top of my head. They take a screenshot. No, they copy from your clipboard every single keystroke. Every single keystroke, literally, they're recording.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know. I knew they were pigs. I knew LinkedIn was a pig. I got rid of that shit, but I didn't know why. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's bullshit right there.
And I use this VPN. So I turn shit off like Instagram. I have Instagram off to data and Wi-Fi almost all the time.
I don't even fucking use Instagram. I don't use Instagram. I don't use Twitter. I keep it bare minimum just because why do I need that? I can go get all my information from you or my wife or a coworker, and they'll bring me interesting little bits of information. I've got an ESFP at work. I call him ABN, the Atom Broadcast Network. He will bring me the juiciest shit known to mankind. It's awesome. And then go away. You know, he can't help himself.
What shit? Oh, I was about to type this out. Alexandra, we're just shooting the shit. We have no agenda. Feel free to ask questions or do whatever. We were talking on video chat and we just decided to move it here. What do the ESFPs bring you?
Everything from fucking workplace gossip to what's going on in the world today that they saw that was interesting, that was shiny. I remember he brought me some shit about China the other day concerning the COVID outbreak and how they had stopped reporting. And I looked at him. I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yeah, my girlfriend told me about it." And he went into detail about what his girlfriend told him. And I was like, "Thanks, man." And in the space of, he's like my own little, like these people are my own little data miners. And they bring in information. And as I listen to what they have to say, it still builds that social connection. But you sit there and you go, okay, now I know the keywords to go look for when I type it into Google and see what's up. And you'd be fucking amazed. Even though they may not get it right when they're telling you the information, they give you enough information to go look.
They're a good compass. My mom sent me a message earlier asking me about Wayfair. Have you heard about Wayfair?
I have heard about Wayfair.
Okay, so you're familiar with the company? Are you familiar with the latest scandal?
I'm not familiar with the latest scandal. What's up? What are they doing?
So I had never heard of Wayfair, and my mom just sent me just Wayfair with a question mark because I'm all down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, you know, and I think that there's pedophiles running the world and adrenochrome and all that shit. Check out this shit. This is the news section. Apparently, well, of course, this is all Yahoo and shit saying they debunked it, but apparently they were selling. There's a section where they had like kids, like children's armoire.
No fucking way.
Yeah, but I believe it because these big online retailers are super sketchy.
They are.
And was it Alibaba? Alibaba has listings for adrenochrome. So if you know what that is, then that's sketchy.
That's sketchy as fuck. But you know why these big corporations are that way, right?
Because they're made with deep state Illuminati money.
Well, not just that, but here's the thing: when you build a tier system and you get this high level of associates going on, nobody takes the blame, and they're protected under laws where it's in such a way that nobody is actually held personally liable for decisions made. They just say, "I was told to do this." Well, did you not think it was not ethical or moral, or that might be illegal in some way, shape, or form?
I mean, at some point,
somebody told you.
Right. At some point, though, none of the laws or ethics matter because you're Jeff Bezos and you just got too much fucking money.
This is true, but they still can be touched.
But here's
one
the
way
thing,
or the other.
I don't, and this is one of my newer conspiracy theory developments, but I am sort of skeptical that things like that happen organically. I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook out of his living room. I think he had seed money. I think he had seed technology. I think that there's some sort of entity or agency or something that puts these out and makes fronts. Amazon was losing money for a long ass time when it started. Think about it. It's an online bookseller. They sold fucking books. Now
I remember when they came out.
Yeah, now they run the economy. So how the fuck do you lose a shitload of money as just some online bookstore forever, and then next thing you know, you're the richest person on earth? Twitter, Alexander, I meant to address this. Twitter is fun in small doses, but God, it fucking aggravates me. And I am on a lot of the social media that I have. I wouldn't have it if it weren't for for flow state, because sometimes I go around and I drop links here and there and stuff. But
no, yeah, I think you're right on the how the seed money happens, because what's a good way to actually start a process that begins in the direction that you want? You go and find these people that are super bright, and then all of a sudden you see they have this idea, but they have no morals. They have no but they have no morals. They have no compass. They just build it. No, I think Bill Gates is just happened to fall onto a good idea and ran with it.
Or Mark Zuckerberg. These people can't. Whoever these people are and wherever they find them, they can't lie their way out of a speeding ticket to save their life.
Well, Zuckerberg had a partner. He had a partner that helped him program. He had an original team. I can almost guarantee you that Zuckerberg did not have the main brain baby for that whole operation. That he just took it from somebody that wasn't bright enough to see that they were going to be blindsided. And that's normally how it works. Somebody builds it and then gets blindsided because all they're worried about is building shit. They don't give a fuck about the social aspects of it. They just want to build. So somebody else.
So they're like you.
Says,
there are ISTPs.
Money off this. Whap! It's mine now.
So is this the story about how the ISTPs built the world and got rolled?
It's we're kind of stupid in that way, just so you're aware. Like, we can be fucked over real quick, fast, in a hurry.
That is a way.
And in which case, when they get older, they just become very callous and fucking hate everybody. It's an awesome way to treat
We're
people,
younger.
just so you know.
ISTPs don't always wait to get old to be callous and bitter. But the way that these companies,
I'm not quite bitter yet, but I'm getting there. I just see all the bullshit.
Well, but then they ease off it at some point too, I think, or most of them do. I hope y'all do, or they have a heart attack.
Well, they burn out.
Yeah. You can't be mad for that long, or uptight for that long. Not you, the royal you, but that's what confuses the fuck out of me about a lot of people.
No, you just get really skeptical. Most of the people that I know in the field that are ISTPs, when they get 45, 50, they get super skeptical. Like, they could give 2 fucks less what you want, and they're not going to talk to you. They're stuck in their ways, and it's unhealthy.
When
I don't know how to change that aspect of it, other than talk and see what's about. Educate yourself.
Hey, are we lagging? I think you're lagging a little bit. Give yourself a refresh. Mic check.
Yeah, you lagged a little bit.
Hey, Alexandra, how do we sound? We'll wait for her reply. The live stream comments are always way behind. When an ISTP meets a new person, what is the mindset? Speak for your people.
The mindset is, hey, this person's new. Normally, God damn, it's lagging some more. Great. Mic check.
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
See, you've got a lag on me.
When an ISTP meets somebody new, it's normally.
You've got a lag on me. I'm gonna remove you from the thing. Just dip out and clear your shit, and then jump back in, and I'll re-add you. All right, my 4 viewers. What do you want to talk about while we wait? Wow, 7 viewers. Just like that. I'm waiting for SciFi to come back. He's an ISTP. We're not talking about shit. We were actually just chit-chatting earlier. And I said, well, do you want to move it onto a live stream? And he said, yeah, let's do it. So here we are. We've got no agenda, no plan. I've got nothing for you but positive attitude. So feel free to ask us questions or whatever. Throw shit to us. But we're just fucking around. Yo.
See if that works any better.
That is better.
Outstanding.
Queen's Gambit.
Cleared some shit off.
Queen's Gambit's going to come at us. I can never tell how Queen's Gambit is going to come at me. Sometimes it's like interesting and insightful, and sometimes it's like doing that thing where you get attention by being obnoxious.
Oh, the ignorant intention-seeking behavior.
Kick the girl that you like in the shin and run away sort of behavior. Not that he likes me.
Real cute.
Maybe he likes me. I like him. I ain't gay. I ain't gay, but I'll fuck him if I got to prove a point. Just kidding. OJG, that I can't take any credit for it. That was all Damon, and it is amazing. It's good. Damon's got a lot of shit. That's one thing that people don't really know about him. If you're not familiar with it, Damon's the other dude who was in that video with me. And when Flow State started, it started as sort of a joint venture that now is my venture. We never really found our rhythm together, but we still work together a lot and are good friends. But he, when I first learned about type, he and Michael Pierce had the only 2 real big typology channels, and it was called MBTV. And he just kind of backed off of it about 3 or 4 years ago. But behind the scenes, that dude has researched and studied and analyzed and knows his shit. He's put in the time, which is interesting. SciFi Alexandra wants to know if you've got a YouTube channel.
No, I don't.
He doesn't, but he's thinking about starting one. He needs to start one because he's sent me like 7 fucking video clips in the last 2 days, and I haven't watched any. I've only watched one of them. I've only watched one. This bromance has like a 45-second limit, which is pretty good amongst my bromances. But
no, man, did you listen to one about the banjo string? That was amusing.
I did not. I mean, I plan to listen to them.
That was one where if you hear it, I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, you can hear the SC, where I'm like, say it now.
Actually, earlier I went upstairs. I was gonna sit down by my girlfriend and just start playing the Smegma one, but my daughter was there too.
Yeah, that kind of ruins it a little bit right there.
But
goddamn, I need a cigarette.
Gonna make a channel. He's gonna be the first, maybe ISTP. There's an ISTP chick on YouTube. I don't remember her name or her channel, but I know there is one.
I know of one ISTP dude, but he's just dry as fuck. There's no content. It's just he's one of the miserable motherfuckers that I talk about, where they just can't fucking find happy. He hasn't been typed, but though it's not good to vibe type now. But being said, like, he fucking acts like an ISTP. It just dry and
but I mean, what sort of channel is it? What sort of shit does he do?
It's an MBTI one. Oh, it is? Actually, believe it or not. I'll have to go look it up. He's an Asian dude. It looks like he's in either South California, southern part of California, or maybe the Bay Area.
Just because he's Asian, that's why it looks like he's from California.
Yeah, I'm fucking not stereotyping that way. The fucking background asshole. Where's this Queen's Gambit bullshit supposed to be coming up?
I actually just sent him a link if he feels frisky.
Hmm. What am I hearing in the background?
My daughter. I'm not following this. Do you understand that?
Let's see. How can you do it that easy? Very curious. INFP. What aspect of SE? There's several different aspects of SE that you can be talking about right now. Making your presence known, knowing what you're doing at any one given time, being aware of your surroundings. Which aspect?
And what are you, a male or female? Because
that makes a big difference.
At least from the advice part, it does.
An Aegis Boost, Salt Nick, 25 milligram. It's actually a heavy duty little device. I like it.
Yeah, SciFi quit smoking. Like, say your thing. I was impressed.
About 6 months ago. 6 months ago, or no, 6 weeks ago. My bad. Wow. About 6 weeks and smoked Marlboro Reds for 14 years. So this is the only reason why I'm not smoking a cigarette right now.
Which I've smoked 19 years. Like, regularly for 19 years. And it's my only habit I'm holding on to. So
now I'll tell you this much, Taylor. As much as I'll tell you what, I've got a bigger one that you see.
Tell you what.
Yeah, that's right. You might hear the accent coming out here shortly. The alcohol starting to kick in. But I've got a bigger one. And you think about vaping, you think douchebag. But honestly, they've come out with the smaller ones that have the same draw as a cigarette, reloadable, rechargeable, have good wattage settings on them.
No, I have been wanting to get one. I don't want to learn a new thing, and I've gone through a handful of green leafs snitch on myself, but my joke response to Alexandra's question was this: you can actually use them for that. And so really my only experience was back in the day. We'd get a $30 green leaf to go into a concert or whatever. And that was how you got around it. And then you just pitch it because that gunks up the coils real bad. But I have wanted to get one. My only hesitation is that like I'm about to smoke a cigarette, but I'll smoke one cigarette. Then I'll come back inside. People who start vaping get this constant, steady stream of high dose nicotine. And I kind of wonder if that's not setting the hooks a little bit deeper in some way.
Actually, believe it or not, when I'm not sitting here doing anything, when I'm at work, you know that hankering that you get after a cigarette after about a couple hours, about 2.5, maybe 3 hours, you just start, you feel like you need a cigarette, no, for me, it was like an hour, but at work, if I'm actually working and we got a good flow going and the break's not coming up anytime soon, I don't feel the need to stop what I'm doing, step outside, smoke a cigarette if we're on a smoke-free zone. Instead I can just keep going because it doesn't have the addiction that it once did. I'm doing it because it's habit and because I really fucking enjoy it. But in reality, you can actually set it down and be perfectly fine. Oh, fucking lighting sucks. You can't see shit. Great. I don't hear you, brother. Hold on. I'll come back in.
That was me. Something about addiction that was surprising to me was going to jail. The first time I went to jail as an adult and realizing how absolutely desperately addicted to sugar I am. And I don't consume a lot of sugar, relatively. I've never been a big pop drinker. I don't eat candy.
But you love your fucking Starbucks coffee and your iced coffee from what is it? Jack in the Box.
Oh yeah, I do like that. I really like that a lot.
Jack in the Box. Now let me tell you something about that. When you go to vaping, I've never been able to drink black coffee. I have cut the sugar completely out of my life.
Bullshit. It's in everything.
Now I can drink.
It is in everything.
Fucking black coffee. No, seriously. Like, I go make my coffee, cook my steak or my burger. Granted, the bread that we have is the Sara Lee with the made with real sugar bullshit. But in reality, I've cut all the added sugar that I would add to my drinks. I don't drink pop or soda or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Pop. I want to call it pop.
Different. Pop is good. I can deal with pop. And oh yeah, I miss my map gas.
I used to keep map gas around just for ISTPs because y'all can do projects with it. You guys can actually blow glass and love it.
And you know what? One of these days I'll pull out the rig and we'll show you how to do that. But
that's true. Nicotine isn't that bad for you, and it's actually good for something like things like Alzheimer's. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, nicotine is good for Alzheimer's because it creates a pleasure loop, and it kind of burns that memory, and that's why you want another cigarette, because that pleasure loop feedback has been learned by your brain. But the little short-term memory loops, it stimulates that somehow. Joey
Now, the
Jojo
one
Shabadoo,
thing,
you shut your mouth. It's pop. Soda. I want the soda. I used to be addicted to caffeine.
espresso shots let me tell you about espresso shots now. Now this is gonna be fun. Hold on a second here. There it is. See that? That motherfucker makes compressed caffeine. I love it. It's a mocha pot. It's Italian espresso maker. Stovetop, simple, cheap.
Yeah. I just like iced coffee because it's like chocolate milk. But I don't think lazy. I'm not really a caffeine addict because I cannot drink it with no issues. I mostly just drink it out of habit, and I hate mornings. I'm a crabby ass morning person.
I'll tell you what, I do much better on second shift, believe it or not. This whole
if
day
I
shift
had my
is
way,
for the birds.
If I had my way, the day would be from like 11 to 11, and every week it would cycle back 2 hours.
Oh, that would fuck you up. Damn it to hell.
OJG, if you want to clarify what you're asking advice for earlier, I'd be happy to try to answer the question, but I don't know enough with what I'm working with to really go into it.
The wording is super ambiguous here. I can't even translate that shit.
Something interesting though that I've noticed is INFP women in particular. I think that, you know, I do a little bit of coaching on the side, and it's just, you know, I've got little side things going on. INFP women make up a huge proportion of the people that I've coached over the years, which seems counterintuitive because they're my conflictor type.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this: throughout, they actually that lead FI gives them a huge range of behaviors. Like it's really funny. You could get one that's a super in your face and just right there, still an INFP, and then you get the others that just sit on their ass and do nothing. And I just have not figured out why that is.
I mean, I don't think any of them do particularly a lot as far as like SE or TE stuff goes. NFPs are like, I don't know how to phrase this. They're like interested and curious about people. They want to understand people more than any type, probably more than NFJs, but then it doesn't seem like they do a lot with it.
This is a true statement from the behaviors that I've seen. There's one gentleman that's starting up a channel called Slope. He's an INFP, and he's super curious. Like he analyzes the hell out of human behavior, and you can tell he feels really alien sometimes. And I just wonder if that's just a standard feeling across the board for an INFP or what. I know a few social worker females that are INFPs.
I think that's a standard feeling for people in general. I think that's part of the human condition is everybody feels a little bit offbeat or a little bit misunderstood until you realize that everybody's fucking weird once you get to know them. Everybody's weird and everybody's dysfunctional and there's no such thing as normal. But I think that NFs do seem to have a bit worth of a time with it.
Normal is a fucking illusion. Each one of us has our own fucking quirks. I tell you that right now. The weirdest thing that I've ever seen is, so I deal with my dad who's an ENTJ and love him to death. And through dealing with him, I can deal with the ENTJs on a regular basis and actually succeed in communicating with them. Then you come across that one that's just the Fruit Loop. And I'm sitting here going, man, what rock did you crawl out from underneath? And it seems as though, but that seems to be a base programming. It seems like the ENTJs that have been successful actually managed to put that oddness away. They put it in a box somewhere, in which case they keep it suppressed for the most part until you actually get to know them, in which case you do realize they're just as weird as everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, of the 16 types, I would say me, then you are probably the two stereotypically least weird. Maybe me, then ESFPs, then you. SC ego. Would you SC egos? Right. I'm weird as shit. I need a pedicure. Speaking of weird shit. Have you ever had a pedicure? Yeah.
They're actually quite enjoyable. Yeah.
They're great. They're fucking great. And I work all day long in boots, you know, my feet get gnarly. They need some attention.
Rub the knots out. Cut the toenails.
When we moved,
get that shit right.
When we moved, and I was loading up the car, I saw my petty egg laying in the fucking middle of the driveway. And it's tainted. You know what? It's tainted then. So I threw it away. I haven't got a new one yet. And Katie hasn't got me a new one.
Are you feeling neglected?
Shit's rough, you know.
I feel you on that.
That's true.
There's a fucking quirk. Let me see.
I wonder what the weirdest types are. Well, everybody's opinion on the weirdest type is going to be opposite, probably. So I think Delta's weirdest. Then Alpha.
I don't know. You got me. I can actually nail down two different types that are just absolutely fucking strange to me, but I know the reason for that, and that is the NE. You got your ENTPs and your ENFPs. Them motherfuckers are so fucking strange to me.
Oh yeah, you don't get that shit at all.
No, I don't get that shit at all, and like it's fascinating to the degree, and I'm sitting there going, oh man, what are you talking about? Oh, that's kind of stupid, and oh no, that's not stupid. What the hell? And you sit there and listen, and you just can't figure. I can't figure them out,
man. So which one's the weirdest?
ENFPs. Like I'm gonna tell you this right now. When you come at me and you've got NE as your lead and you've got FI as your secondary, right? And you come out with these weird ideas of social appropriateness and just that's rude out of thin air. And I sit here and I'm like, where the hell did you get? Who said it was weird? Nobody. I just think it's weird. Why do you think it's weird? And they can't fucking tell you. They just think it's weird until you explain to them, no, that's not weird. And they're like, oh, that's not weird. And they go about their bit. And then they come back at you again with some other bullshit.
And I agree, ENFP gets weirdest type. But I understand. No, not ISFP.
You got the ISFP.
No. Get ISFP off
you
there.
gotta fix that.
ISF. I get ISFP. I get FI a lot better now than I used to. And
FI is weird
ISFJ.
too because it can be logical in its own way.
ISFJs don't make any fucking sense to me because SI is so boring. As to me, the only point of SI is to not die, and to know where to hang up your shit on the walls. And FE, I appreciate FE. I like FE. I like to get that shit all wet and bask in it and do cool FE shit and have people go, oh my God, that was great. But it's not as something that carries weight in your life. It's not doing it for me.
Motherfucker, you do FE shit for the shock value. You don't care what kind of reaction you get, whether it be a smile or just a grimace.
I enjoy FE. It is a very fun thing to play in, but it can't do much heavy lifting. Can't really do hardly any heavy lifting.
In a social aspect, it does a lot of heavy lifting, because you got to take, and this is one thing that I found, and I'm not very good at it now. I try. Is the fact that people got feelings. They got their own perspectives. They got their own feelings. And if you take their feelings into consideration, which is, I think, is bullshit sometimes, then you get a better production from a better result from the people around you. Right. Does that mean I'm manipulative? No, honestly, I enjoy the FE too. Like, I can feel it, and I like to have a positive environment. But does it mean I can do anything about it? Not fucking really. And it's unfortunate.
But it can't do. But it's diplomacy, and in your toolbox of ways to affect the world, diplomacy is the first one. It's the most pleasant one. But when shit gets serious, it's not what we lean on, and it's not what we value. I can't make any sort of a decision considering how the group collective is going to feel about this, or the emotional dynamics of the people around me. That shit would have me. I mean, it's no wonder ENFJs are, and I'm talking to Megan Lavoda, are so
they're dynamic
on board with I don't know how to phrase this, but like all for the
they're all for the people. They're all for the
people. They're all for the people, but I'm for the people, right? Like, I think Black Lives Matter, but I hate Black Lives Matter, the organization.
But here's the thing: we look at it from a logical. We look at it from a logical standpoint of this: is this effective? Is this not? Is this the chain of events, or is this not? Whereas an ENFJ can do both.
I don't want to give the people a tool that's really George Soros manipulating people's emotions. That's not an effective tool for the people.
No, it's not. And that's the whole thing. And here's the thing: is until people actually realize that there's a operator in the background saying, "Hey, go do this," and he says, "Go do this." Well, the people that are going to do it aren't really thinking about it. They don't think about the results and the effects of their actions. Instead, the man who's controlling the strings actually knows what that's going to affect at that moment in time, in order to either A, profit off of it, or B, destabilize whatever the hell he has sent his posse in the name of some kind of social justice to go fix.
But ridiculous. I mean, but that situation isn't specific to Black Lives Matter. It's just, I just happened to drive by them before we talked. It's just the freshest one on hand. But that applies to every single thing that you hear about on the news, or that comes across your news feed, or whatever. There's always somebody behind the scenes, and there's always somebody behind the scenes of why you're hearing about it. There's two layers of behind the scenes at least.
I don't doubt that. In fact, I agree with that fully, because with the way that I get my information coincides with that. Because here I am, you could essentially say that I'm behind the scenes in a way, because I don't even look at the information until somebody brings it to me, because they think it's cool and think it's important, in which case then
you're behind the times. You're not behind the scenes. You're behind the times.
Oh, fuck you too.
What is the definition of the word normal? I think I wouldn't define it very well, because I think it's an illusion. The illusion of normalcy that other people have. Everyone sees it from their perspective, but the world is realistic, and ISTPs are too, making them normal, while NFs are not, making them not very usual normal.
ISTPs, if you need to go actually talk to an ISTP.
ISTPs are so abnormal. Let me tell you about these crotchety old crabby motherfuckers. When they meet you, they assume you're stupid. They're already down in the dumps because they think you're stupid just like everybody else, and they're mopey. And then when you reveal that you're not stupid because you also have SENTI, they get really fucking excited and they can't believe
Fuck you,
it.
dude. Fuck
hey,
you.
Not just you.
You called me out on that shit.
And fuck, I lost my train of thought. They'll take your car apart and put it back together just because they looked at it, but
it made a weird noise.
But the NE polar is a strange thing to observe sometimes. It's like, because my girlfriend's an ISFP and she's got it too. Sometimes it's like,
I know.
This is the way. I'm like, but look, there's this other way too. No,
but this is the only way.
Like, and it's not even always stubborn. Sometimes it's just like you can't conceptualize of it. Like if I say there's shirts without sleeves, one of you motherfuckers will go, no, shirts have sleeves. I'll be like, but some don't. No, but shirts have sleeves.
That goes back to my point of saying ISTPs are kind of stupid sometimes.
Yeah. And they're the type of people you can make jokes about in their presence, and they won't get that it's about them, although they might have a hunch.
Until after the fact. Yes, I know. Fuck
so
you.
right after you do that shit, always tell them a big joke and bring them in on it and give them some FE, slather that shit on them so they forget about it and they get over themselves. Otherwise, they'll sit there and figure shit out, and it won't be good for anybody because they'll figure it out wrong, but you'll still be a culprit. Joey Jojo Shabadoo, what type are you again? Remind me. ENTP? That's probably one of my favorite YouTube names still, is Joey Jojo Shabadoo. Say it.
Joey Jojo Shabadoo. That actually was a little bit hard right there.
Do it again though. You got the hang of it now. It's fun. Joey Jojo Shabadoo. Okay, let me come back to that. I didn't feel like I answered that all the way. What he's hitting, I think, is that those who are manipulative set these ridiculous systems that well-meaning FE doms latch themselves onto, not knowing what they're doing, that what they're doing is not helping.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why. Taylor, you care if I bring BB into this?
No, I don't care.
John BB.
No,
all right. John
BB
has a system with the spine and all that, and you can look it up.
I'm not opposed to BB at all. I'm just personally not on his system, and I am opposed to CS Joseph, who bastardizes it. Anyway.
Fuck CS Joseph and his no more Mr. Nice Guy bullshit. But we're leaving CS Joseph completely out of this. We're bringing in John Beebe, who actually is a Jungian analyst, and he has done this shit, and he actually knows what he's fucking talking about, and is not a flim-flam man from fucking San Francisco. Fuck CS Joseph. That's all I gotta say. The point blank and simple, John Beebe has a ladder or a spine system, and at the bottom of the spine, he has something called the demon, and the demon would. What I found to correlate would essentially be the role function in socionics model A. Okay. And the way it operates in BB is it's operating all the time. You're not aware of it. And I swear this is going somewhere. You're not aware of it, but it has to output. Now, those people that suppress their demon function or their role function are your unhealthy individuals, because they're the ones with explosive anger. You see it with ISTPs when they all of a sudden they break down, start screaming and crying, and you can't figure out what the fuck's wrong with them, and then all of a sudden they shut down. It happens on occasion. This goes for ISFPs too. They do the same fucking thing, except they'll tear your ass apart. So,
you guys will too.
And the demon function, where I was going with it, is as it's operating all the time, and you have FE DOMs. Well, you have your ESFJ, and then you have your ENFJ, and both of them have TE demon. A TE demon, basically, in the bottom line, and this is my opinion. This is from nowhere else. Is basically outside information. It's other people's information. It's other people's idea. It's shit that's been pretty much peer reviewed and said, well, this is a thing. Well, the TE demon and the ESFJ or the ENFJ takes that information and says, well, this is a thing. It doesn't change. And it just absolutely is locked in place. And they will fucking fight and defend that shit tooth and nail, as stupid as it may seem, because everybody else agreed with it. Because TE, in its basic fact, is very much an outside function. It's very much other people's information. It's a practicality type of deal. It goes with FE. FE is an emotionality type of deal. And this is my own opinion again. And Taylor, shut me down if you disagree with any of this.
No. Take it away. I actually went inside to get a chair, so I haven't listened to anything that you've said. But I could tell you were going into some shit, and you've got an audience of 18. And in my experience, once you start talking about some shit, and which is typical of ISTPs, you've researched it and processed it, and you're not talking out of your ass, you know.
That's actually
in line with CSJ's definition of TE, which CSJ doesn't get every definition wrong. So there will be
he doesn't. And his original, and I'll go back, and I'll put this caveat on this. As an individual, I don't care for him. As his system, I don't care for it either. As for his original work before he fucking fell off the deep end or whatever the hell happened with him, it actually was some very decent information. And he had actually put some very good research into it. Now, I don't know what the hell's up with him, but it doesn't line up. Like he's done the standard thing of taking a conceptual idea, putting it out into the world without actually looking at it or checking it. Sorry about your luck, but if you think it, doesn't mean it exists. But if you think it and you look around and see if it's there, granted, it's a self-actualizing kind of thing. It's a little bit more a confirmation bias. There you go. It might be confirmation bias, but at least you look. I don't think C.S. Joseph is looking anymore. I don't think he gives two fucks. All he wants to do is get his dick wet. In which case he's gotten married, so maybe he'll stabilize back out. We don't know.
You know
I'm not
what?
worried about that.
I don't think so. But yeah, I guess my thing that I wanted to add to this is that not everything C.S. Joseph says is wrong. Actually, if you chop it up, more is right than is wrong. However,
but there's enough wrong that it can fuck you up if you use it.
That's exactly the problem, right? Because I mean, no liar tells you a pure lie. You got to have some truth in these lies. You got to roll them up. And he's the only person in typology still that I am confident and have enough conviction in my assessment of him to call out repeatedly and not give him the benefit of the doubt. The dude's a sham, and he mixes in truth with not truth, but the way that he blends them, you're never going to get a whole truth out of it. There's no whole concept that's not been bastardized by the bullshit. And one thing that he does very well is SEO, search engine optimization. So I know I've said this before, but a lot of people find their type and then do like I did, like everybody does, like, oh, I'll search my type. And then a lot of people who don't know shit find CS Joseph first and learn the fucked up way and get a long ways into it before they realize that this dude's selling them a line of crap. They got to unlearn it. Hopefully they haven't taken any advice from him. But it's it's a big trap.
If you take his system by itself, you will destroy yourself and everything around you, because the information in its inaccuracy, there's just enough right for it to actually begin to work. It's kind of like a lawnmower engine. You pull the cord, and it starts cranking up, and you start to mow the yard, and all of a sudden it dies again. But when it died, it fucking threw the crankshaft and the propeller come off. It doesn't matter. If parts of it are wrong, the whole thing becomes wrong, and you can't use it, because these are people's lives we're talking about here. Families, relationships, relationships between husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fucking whatever fucking relationship you want to have, it will destroy that relationship, because as you push out something called social engineering, which I understand, but as an ISTP, I find that so repulsive. I can't fucking stand it, because that means that I'm seeing that somebody else is seeing me. Yeah.
See, I'm okay with that. I don't mind the concept at all.
It bothers me because there's no ethics behind it.
No, there's no ethics behind it. But the reality of the world is it's something that people do. Whether or not you call it that or acknowledge it as that or recognize it consciously, we're always interacting in socially lubricated ways, not exactly as our baby ass would want to. And that's not a bad thing. It does impact the interaction intentionally. However, the other side of that is it's also just polite fucking manners. So you're really doing it's not even a selfish thing. It's something that both parties do, and that's expected of people.
It is expected of people to play the game. It is expected of them to say please and thank you, and to smile and somebody smile back and be put at ease. It is expected to, if you hold the door open, somebody walks through and says thank you. Simple social niceties. That's social engineering. That's some what he's talking about, the social engineering aspect, is a completely different order. When he talks about how
draw the line, because one thing when I'm out of fucks, one thing I quit doing is pretending to care. And this is nothing will piss off Katie faster than when she's like talking and I say, and I'm just like, so fucking what? I'm not interested. You know, like when I get to that level,
repercussions for your actions,
of not dealing with people,
repercussions for your actions.
But that would be a more honest response. There's a lot of times every day, all day, when somebody's talking to me or trying to be friendly, or how was your weekend? And really, I don't give a fuck.
Fuck the small
Stop
talk.
asking me this stupid shit. It's Monday morning.
And in a way, it's rude. And here I sit here, and I'm going to key back on Katie. And when Katie does that, and you do that to Katie, and she gets pissed off at you, eventually one or two things is going to happen. If you do that repeatedly enough, either Katie's going to slit your throat in your sleep, or she's going to deal with it, in which case that's not the type of woman that you want. I mean, is it?
No, she would slit my throat, and it really happens very rarely to her, because she's the only one that will call me straight the fuck out on it. Most of the time, if I'm at kind of that spot in my day, and where I look at somebody and just go, I don't care, man, shut the fuck. Normally, they're not going to say anything back.
Well, normally they're not, because that FE niceties, a lot of them are pointless. And the fact of the matter is this: is I walk into work on a Monday morning, same as you, and it's been a long weekend. You might have had bad shit go down during the weekend, and in which case it wasn't restful or peaceful. And you go in and you're sitting there and you're resetting. You're going, hey, all right, it's a new fucking week. We got 7 days, yo. And you reset. Well, somebody coming up, how was your weekend? Man, does it really matter to you? That's my question to them, is does it matter? Does it change how you're going to feel right now? Go the fuck away. And
go the fuck away. Straight the fuck away.
Granted, I know that it's rude to some people. On the same note, those people will lose. Well, they do. And on the same note, and they will help you to get through whatever it is. And on the same note, there's a lot of people that say it and don't care.
But some people
it's a matter of discerning.
Look, ISFJs, like I said, ISFJs are confusing. This is one of the things ISFJs I've learned really like. I don't know if it's that routine or if it's the extension of I don't know. I don't know what it is, but some people really like it. And that is one thing that I started working on specifically, was to ask people about their weekend or their kids' fucking little league game or whatever, and actually listen to the response.
I will say this much about ISFJs, and I train apprentices, and I've had a couple ISFJ male apprentices, and they are pleasant to be around. There's no doubt about it. They're extremely pleasant to be around. Once they reach a certain age, they become stuck in their ways, in which case it becomes really hard for them to get unstuck out of their ways. But and that creative function, that FE creative function that they have, is they become chained to it. They're chained to the emotions of the room. They're chained to how everybody else feels. They can't fucking help it, and it's nothing to look down on. And I've learned this. This is what typology is.
No, I'm not looking down on them. I don't understand it, but I'm not trying to be derogatory towards them.
Oh, and I'm not saying that you are. I'm making sure. I'm making that very clear right now. I know you're not being derogatory, but I will say there are shortcomings when it comes to certain environments. An ISFJ male, outstanding individual if they're healthy, very helpful, very pleasant. And I'll tell you what, they will, when they crank up, they actually will work your dick in the dirt. I don't give a shit who you are. But it's a matter of getting them cranked up and actually getting them to give a shit about what they're doing to get them to that point. But if you give them that social nicety, then they'll do it. Problem becomes is when other types do a social nicety and they don't give a fuck. They don't care. Get an ISTJ. They don't really care about whether your weekend was good or not. They don't care. They couldn't even figure it out. You know, an ESFJ?
That's another type that I have trouble understanding or relating to certain aspects. Like, I like the fuck out of ISTJs, but I can't imagine being one. And it's the third slot FI. I can't figure out third slot FI. It's like you're bad at it, but you want to wallow around in it. I don't know.
It really seems goofy. It's one where I look around and I have ISTJs, and they're outstanding mechanics in their own way. In their own right, they are unparalleled. They are unparalleled.
Excellent.
When it comes to TE, when it comes to paperwork and documentation, they'll blow my ass out of the water every day of the week without blinking. It's disgusting, man. I get envious. And on the same note,
mechanic at work, our head maintenance and mechanic guy at work is an ISTJ, and he is slow as fuck, and sometimes he's in a bad mood, and he likes to bitch about stupid ass little things that don't really matter, but this dude can look at anything and figure it out. He actually before working for my company, he was in the Navy. Anyways, he worked on nuclear reactors. He was a nuclear technician.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
A bright motherfucker. That goes back to that documentation part of it. They can take something that somebody has already worked on and documented and figured out and take it and build upon it very, very quickly, because that's what and then they'll look at it, and they've got that demonstrative TI in Model A. And they will bite your ass with that fucking demonstrative TI, and like it's a nasty critter. Because you sit there and you're like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden they come out of nowhere and they've got documentation, paperwork, and saying this is how it's always been done, and this is why it's always been done. And to a degree, that's a good thing. But on another degree, when it comes to efficiency, they're not as efficient as we would hope.
That's exactly it. It's a patience thing. I cannot, for the life of me, understand somebody who's going to spend that much time on shit. Let's start popping up some questions. Joe said yes, highlighting the hell of the fact that that INFJs are more soulless.
Joe, Shobadu.
That's the essence of a different conversation. But my statement is, I know that INFJs are much more soulless than most people realize. It shocks everybody to realize how cold and callous they are, except for your duels. Did you know that?
Yeah, and I'm married to one, and they're actually pretty cool. Just don't piss them off. And
I didn't mean soulless in a bad way.
Oh, no. Let me put it like this for you. You got to listen real close because that demonstrative FI doesn't like to speak, but when it speaks, it'll burn your ass to the ground. Fuck that. I'm good. Trying to cut back on that.
I'm not sure on his. I'm not sure on your wife's
You know what,
fuckhead?
We will get her into one of these voice calls one of these days.
Yeah. But if I type her, I'm gonna do it without you around.
Oh, that's fine. I don't give a shit.
Okay. Ethan thinks our contrast is interesting. I agree. Mike feels sorry for C.S. Joseph's wife.
She was typed as an ESTP, and
that's what he says.
Well, that's what he says. But looking through all the documentation and looking how she responds, she is definitely an SE Dom in one way or the other. She makes her presence known. Her group think, but that's just a symptom. He says it's Jungian.
Just groupthink. Can you see this comment?
Yeah, I can see it. I'm reading it right now.
Is that correct of C.S. Joseph's definition of TE? Sort of, if I remember correctly.
Sort of. And there's the thing about it is that when you define one thing, when you come to these functions, and I will bitch about this for a second, is that imagine a beach ball sitting in front of you, and a beach ball, and
like imagine from my last video.
Yeah, that beach ball, and imagine there's 4 different lines on it, and equally spaced equidistant points. Yes, that was a big word for me. And you go along and Model A, is it Model A or Model A2 that has the dimensionality in it? You know? A. Model A has dimensionality. So you have first, second, third, and fourth dimensionality. Well, with each dimensionality, you have a different action that it can do, a different aspect that it can do. To say that it's just groupthink is a fallacy. It's lacking. It's not just groupthink. It's just not other people's information. It's written down words. The words coming out of my mouth right now is the same language that Taylor's using, that you're using. STE. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth because it's been peer reviewed and taught across the board for those of us that speak this language.
These are very
as you go up. But when you go up in the dimensionality in socionics, you go up in the abilities that it has and how it affects everything else. And one of those things that I love, TE, is efficiency. It's business logic. Well, business logic goes on what works and what doesn't. TI goes and figures out what works and what doesn't, but doesn't actually say it until it becomes TE, in which case everybody looks at it and go, oh, that worked. Let's repeat that result because that's a good, efficient thing. And we can make money or food or get sex or whatever the hell it may be. TE. There's when you go up the dimensionality, you get more defined, but at the bottom end of it that everybody has, though they may not be good at, is the ability to transfer information and peer-reviewed information. Use their big boy words to be exact. Taylor, that's my opinion.
Okay, and so for the sake of not getting lost into the finer TI details of function description, I intentionally didn't listen to what you're saying.
Good.
But I probably mostly more agree with him than disagree. And a couple things. One, anytime you reduce a function or any sort of concept like this to one word, you got a problem. Nobody could say that psychology is not simple. Typology is a branch of psychology. It's not simple. If you're drawn to a particular teacher or system or method because it's simple, you've got a problem. This shouldn't be simple. These are evasive concepts. It takes a long time to learn. I mistyped for 2 years because I didn't understand what SE and NE were. And that's common as hell.
That's a common one right there. That's one that will fuck everybody up because.
Yeah.
Can I take this one if you don't care?
Yeah, go for it.
You can take an ENFP, and we're going back to John Beebe, and I really like his work. I'm not fucking. I'm not bringing C.S. Joseph into this, but John Beebe, in his Speaking of the Demon, and we're going to bring Lenore Thompson into this. Lenore Thompson brought up something called a rocket model, and the role function for Model A, the demon function from Beebe, line up with with Lenore Thompson's rocket model, and the way she explained it was a motor. It's your battery. It's the thing that powers you through this world. You don't fucking know it's there. You don't have any control over it. It's like the engine of your car. You just drive your car. You don't fucking control the engine. The engine has its own thing it's doing, putting power to the fucking wheels. But it is unstoppable. And that being said, when you look at somebody's demon function, when you look at an ENFP and they come in and they make their presence known, they can be loud as fuck and really goofy with it. But when you're talking to them, especially over voice call or whatever, it's really hard to tell the difference between NE and SE due to the fact that NE is looking around at the ideas, trying to link ideas. SE is looking around at the physical, trying to link the physical bits to one part to another. And fuck that noise. Keep going, Taylor. I don't care.
Yeah, one thing early on that threw me off is Eric, from Talking with Famous People, and I developed a friendship, and he's an ENTP. And our discussions would look like we were bouncing back and forth NE at each other. But in hindsight, what we weren't doing that. He was serving up NE, and I was returning volleys. So if anybody's watched any of those old TWFP videos or cares to, that's sort of an interesting take on it. But
motherfucker, when's your birthday? I'm gonna interrupt this.
December 11th.
So, asshole, I'm gonna send you for your birthday a vape that will help you out, that you can go from cigarettes to, and I'll send you the juice to go with it, and I will explain how to set it up. That way you can get off of cigarettes so you can live a little bit longer and actually fucking breathe a little easier. Sure, you don't feel it now, but you will.
While you're doing shit for me, here's some ISTP shit that I need. I bought this big ass clock.
Ooh, that's nice. Is it actual pendulum?
Yeah, it's got all that shit. See, but I bought it because it's called the regulator, but it's broken. So I really need one of you people to fix this for me, because my ISFP isn't doing it. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. You know what? I bet I can figure it out. I'll figure it out this weekend. That's a good project for me.
I'm sure you can.
Let's keep it rolling. We're getting way behind the comments.
What we got? Bastardized is my favorite word.
DSP, Dave Superpowers. I don't know if he does or not. I will just say that I like Dave Superpowers, and I think that from what I know about it, objective personality is my easy second system to socionics.
It's actually something that the way that I view the systems is very similar to. They're very, very similar. I can see where he comes across his concepts. I don't have much more to say on that, really.
OJG, you might be able to, but most newcomers cannot. And above all of it, there's no reason to. There's a million resources. There's books, there's websites, there's channels, literally any source besides C.S. Joseph. They might have some things you disagree with. They might have some errors, but I don't think there's anybody else in typology circles who is so intentionally, consistently, and overtly presenting information in bad faith.
Now, is he presenting it in bad faith, or is he just ignorant? I can't tell.
I think they overlap. I think that he's ignorant because he doesn't give a fuck because it's in bad faith.
I'll give you that one right there.
And because he's narcissistic enough to think that whatever he decides is right, and he doesn't need to learn it. He doesn't need to understand it. He'll just decree it, and you little peons will understand it.
The other day, I just want to change the topic for a second. When you go out and you look into all the different articles online, it's always really good to go back to the root. Now, Jung is a little hard to read, but some of the old socionics authors, if you can get some of their original transcripts, what is it? How do you pronounce that? Stratovucci?
Stratoyevsky.
God,
she's the shit. She's the shit.
Yeah, you want to talk about some of the most bipolar shit you've ever read in your life, but it's accurate. And it's in its brutal honesty, and its bipolar brutal honesty, it is accurate about each of the failings of each type and how they act and what they do. And she is a drama slut. Goddamn.
She's an ESI or an ISFP, so she's not projecting NE or imagination at things, but she does bring her value to the table.
Like it is.
Right. And I think that you and I get like not super passing FI grades. When she lays into us, it's I'm tyrannical and you're
I'm militaristic.
Yeah. Are you?
Is it militaristic?
My type was mafia style, and yours was militaristic. Yeah. I don't remember how exactly she laid that out, but
I have to go look back. I have to look.
Actually, there's a video that I've been meaning to do for a long time about in the history of the Socion, which is the socionic sort of lore. She explains how the role INFJs play in the history of the Socion, which is. And she says it this flatly, that if it were not for the INFJ, human progress would have stopped, and SLE would have held on to power forever and oppressed all of humanity. It's only because of INFJs.
I don't disagree with that.
It's only because of INFJs that the Socion lore continues and SLEs give up sort of the grip on power.
Well, let me tell you about that now, because as much as you disagree with, and you want to type my wife by herself at some future date, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I can tell you from firsthand that an INFJ, like they have their own moral system right out of the box, like from 4 years old, or whenever they actually finally mature out a little bit enough to actually be their own little human being.
See, you're saying
this actually got their own,
and it sounds more like ISFPs to me that you're describing. I don't know.
They are very similar.
They are actually very similar, a lot more than they get credit for. But I don't know your wife well enough to actually, and I'm not being nice. I really don't know her well enough to know if I believe she's an INFJ, or if I think that you've got them fucked up with ISFP behavior, or how that is. So that's why I'm just distancing myself from your statements.
You go ahead and do that. I'm okay with that, brother. No hard feelings. But leave my wife out of this one. My brother, also an INFJ. They are fucking. They have their own moral system right out of the box. Like they think right and wrong right off the rip without any input.
See, I don't know that I agree with that for that type more than any other type.
Why?
So we're just gonna move on past that.
Yeah, let's move on past that.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
I think Alexander Cruz here is talking about the people asking stupid questions. I was told by someone who I kept telling not to ask me stuff like that. that they were trying to build a rapport with me so it can lead to a conversation. He then called me mean and walked away. Yeah, they do that. Some people don't get the fucking hint, even when you hit them in the face with it. And the worst is people who talk too close to your face, and then you pivot back, and then they pivot fucking forward. You know what I mean?
You get right in your face,
yo. The right here talkers. Hate that shit.
Hey, say it, don't spray it, brother.
SciFi, what do you think of ENFPs?
I think they're a little rough.
They're a little rough.
They're a little rough.
You want to process that one for a second? It's a broad question. It is a broad question.
That is an extremely broad question. I don't think they want my personal opinion on that one.
They do, though.
Nah, they need to take it, specify.
Alexandra's ex was an ISTJ. He didn't give a fuck about anyone. That is true. They really don't. Then was upset at the world because he's so excluded. Yep. But they love being misunderstood. They love telling you about it. And I don't fucking get that. My family is full of SFJs asking me what I ate for lunch daily. If I allow it to be a habit by answering them, and mostly I do, my effing parent. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to. And part of my growth process was realizing that not everybody's like me, and that there is value to little niceties. And I'm not gonna lie, since I've been working on things like that, people do appreciate it. Truly, I've seen some of my professional relationships get a little bit easier. Another thing that I work on intentionally that I've been slacking on lately, but because I uninstalled Facebook, but I was making an effort for a while to tell people to comment happy birthday on people's birthdays. That's a good FE move that people seem to appreciate. Just for whoever
you seemed actually really pleased with yourself just now. You could see it, like it actually made you happy on the inside. Yeah,
yeah.
Because you figured it out. Look at that smile. There you go.
Don't call me out, motherfucker. I was pleased with myself. Jojo, yeah, INFJs kind of like being soulless. Are you INFJ married to ISFP? Oh, I think you're talking to Jojo.
That's a common quadra.
STPs were my most intense drinking buddies back in the day. We were everybody's most intense drinking buddies back in the day. I got my fake ID when I was 15. And
as a matter of fact,
yeah, I drank a fifth a night for a long time, but now I really don't drink very much. You know, go to rehab a couple times, and it wasn't for drinking. I never really had a drinking problem in that way, but I don't have the desire to drink anymore, and so I take that blessing where I get it.
I'm really just enjoying myself on the front porch right now. I've got the crickets going. I'm talking with Taylor here, and I'm drinking some bourbon and some locally brewed IPA.
I would rather drink if we had anything besides Smirnoff Ice.
You just don't want me to call you Kay, do you?
Oh, I'm going to get fucking Smirnoff Ice. You hold down the fort.
What we got here? Yeah. He operates in the domain of generally accepted facts and knowledge. Yeah, that's peer-reviewed information. Different words, same meaning. Oh, I can't make it click through. Oh, that blows.
All right, where are we at?
remember that taste.
Oh hell yeah! Now stand by here. I'll pick you up. Here, I'll be gay right with you.
Should we cheers? Should we chug the ice?
Actually, I got Smirnoff Ice screwdriver, yo.
You got a screwdriver kind?
I do.
We got the original.
Nothing's wrong with the original. The triple black's really good, really half-assed decent.
I really like Mike's hard lemonade. That stuff's good.
It's just like candy, yo. It's like drinking fucking candy. Here. Let me confirm for you here. There you go.
I heard we were lagging, but this late in the game. All right, should we cheers to Beta Quadra? 1, 2.
Cheers to Beta.
Oh, I can't do it anymore.
I'm only drinking half of this big motherfucker. 1 pint. Fuck that noise right now.
I really expected that to go better than it did.
It's all good. So where were we?
Oh, here. This reminds me of something that I wanted to
always refer back to Carl Jung.
Okay. So people, let me go. Then you can do whatever you think.
Go.
In my opinion, because people always get all lost in the sea of systems and shit like that. The easiest way to figure out which system is for you is to just go back and read Jung's original descriptions. You don't have to read the whole fucking book. You can read the type descriptions. It'll take you an afternoon. It's dense, but if you focus on it, you'll understand the seed that everything sprouted out of. And then once you've read and understood Jung, you then understand the deviations each system makes, and you've got a better reference point to know if you agree with that deviation or not. So I do, yes. I don't think that Jung's system, I don't think that typology as described by Jung is where you should end, because obviously there's been a lot of people who have done a lot of work on his system since then and have evolved it. But I do think that knowing where you're at and understanding where you want, why you're there, it is very important to read and actually digest Jung's descriptions. So I do strongly encourage people tough that out in the beginning of their type interest. Take it. Oh.
It should always go back to Jung. However, being said, if you read all of Jung's bullshit, and he goes into a lot of dream analysis, which I don't get, I don't understand. I have no capacity to understand dreams. However, in that dream analysis is the mechanics for operating how they think. So yes, go back to Jung, read, and actually see pointers back in 1930 actually writing this shit. We would have.
Now I'm getting a big lag on you.
I'll tell you what, reset me.
Yeah, Joe, it's basically, even though everybody's like, you can't cross the systems, it's SETI in socionics, but SLE in socionics, SC has a lot more to do with force or aggression, that sort of assertive, aggressive component of people's personality. And so all the SC ego types have more of that sort of grit and assertiveness than MBTI type descriptions do. I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. Too far ago.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I just jumped down to the bottom, and we can go up until people start commenting some more. But I don't know how far back we were. Take most of what you read with a grain of salt. Try to verify. Yeah, and I want to understand why people do shit or why there's this deviation or that. Like deviations, evolutions, they're all fine, and
I hope for them. But when some motherfucker just goes, oh, you know what? I switched the definitions of NI and NE because I'm right. Well, that's some fuck shit.
That right there is some serious fuck shit.
Joey
right there, just to
JoJo is
make sure
talking
that
shit
you're
on
a certain
our
type.
Smirnoff chug.
Did you finish yours?
No, I drank half of it.
You might as well finish the rest of it.
I'll finish it. So SciFi self-identifies as an 8-wing 9 sxsp.
Passionate. Actually, it's not. No.
It's gone. You're lagging again. Turn your camera off.
The camera is that.
You're are you there? You're no bueno. I'd close out the program and come back in. He self-identifies as 8-wing 9, and I didn't ever ask him until tonight. I haven't typed him or retyped him. I don't know. He self-identifies as 8-wing 9. I would guess that, I mean, most ISTPs in my experience are head types, and most of them are not 7s. So I would, if I were guessing from scratch, I would have not started at 8. Mic check.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, you sound better.
Outstanding.
For no reason at all. I don't know. I started typing out my thing and his thing, and I was like, what's your sign? On the low key, I am sort of developing a little bit of an astrology interest, or like, not interest. I don't know shit about it. I don't know shit about it, but Vedic astrology has some seriously interesting shit. And I got my thing back, and I've been wanting to kind of do a video on it sometimes, because the way this Vedic astrology chart tells me about me is nothing short of fucking shocking.
Oh, where the hell were we before I lagged out?
I don't know.
Oh, 6-wing 5 or 5-wing 6 or some bullshit like that.
Your type, yeah.
No, Cat Passionate actually typed me
Really?
a few months back. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I guess. Well, I mean, she's pretty much a savant when it comes to this shit, though.
She really is. She's fucking fantastic at Enneagram typing. What I was saying is that ISTPs are normally head types, and you're normally not, in my experience, ISTPs are normally 5s or 6s. Or normally have an 8, but I don't see many ISTP 8 leads. But when you said 8-wing 9, it's not something I've viscerally kicked back. And I know that that's not going to carry a lot of weight or meaning to anybody besides me, but I can generally tell real quick when somebody's not an 8 but thinks they're an 8. And when you said you're an 8 wing 9, I kind of went like I was about to get you the fuck out of here, and then I was like, no, he might be.
Well, the Enneagram I don't understand quite as well as I should. And I've not done the research that I need to with it. So really and truly, I'm operating in the dark when it comes to Enneagram. I've read a little bit. It's not sank in the way it needs to yet.
I generally have, I go off, and this is speaking past you to anybody who's watching who's into Enneagram, but I like Naranjo a lot. So my thinking along Enneagram lines will be very Naranjo based. And Naranjo's type 8 descriptions are very SE dominant. So per that, I mean, not overtly or technically or specifically, like he didn't really say SE, although he does actually reference Carl Jung and Naranjo does reference SC ego types in Jung's work. That one section, I forgot about that. But that's where I'm coming from. That's why I hesitate to. I always kind of drag my feet on giving Enneagram 8 to non-SE types, especially NE-DOMs. I don't know that I actually believe that there are ENTP 8s. Nearly as many as
there's no way in fuck. There's no way in fuck that there's any ENTP 8s.
Unless you're using a different Enneagram system than I am.
Or the ENTP in question is a bipolar fuck. I mean, that's the only way you could actually do it.
But yeah, so anyways, Mike, I just threw those in there for shits and giggles. I was trying to remember my moons. Like I'm a Sagittarius, but I've got Taurus as like rising and descending or some. I got Taurus everywhere else, wherever it matters.
Just so you know, we are in completely different playing field than I am ever used to, and I have no idea what you're talking about. I know I'm a Cancer. That's it. Oh yeah. Honestly, sorry about your luck.
I mean, I'm just saying that because somebody in the chat is an astrology chick, like the
okay.
INFJs.
Oh, that makes sense then. I mean, I'll eventually get to it, but
yeah, I don't really know
been in this for about 3 years.
I'm just relaying the information. Other people can use that information. I don't know where to put it. EA also has a correlation with TE. I have heard that. That is, I don't have any reason to. I mean, like, I'm not resistant to this statement, except that the way that it's appearing makes me think that you're saying as much or maybe even more correlation with TE than SE, and not according to Naranjo. So I have heard that before. I've heard a few people say that 8s are TE types, which I disagree with. But I'd be interested to hear you kind of unpack that claim a little bit more.
I'm actually learning a little bit right now.
Keep going. But NE-DOMs are counterphobic 6.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I would agree. I know enough about it to agree with that statement right there.
Woo! Me and Mike are badass tigers. I'm also a triple fire, and I'm a master number in numerology. I'm an 11.
How the hell do you come up with a master number?
My ex-wife was into numerology, so you add. I don't remember if you. Oh. So I was born 12/11.
Did you ever fix that lamp?
What lamp?
The one you fucking raided.
The lamp that I raided?
you confiscated from the house.
I don't know which lamp you're talking about. Did I confiscate?
You
the
confiscated
clock?
a lamp. Yeah, well, not the clock. The lamp. It was going to go outside. It had 2 wires. He wired them together.
Oh, the godlight.
Oh.
No,
fucking grin.
as a matter of fact, the godlight caught on fire. So apparently my wiring skills aren't that good.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. I wish you'd hollered at me.
I think it's salvageable, but Katie told me that I'm not allowed to fuck with it anymore because it was like the 3rd time it caught on fire.
It fucking caught on fire? How the hell did it catch on fire is what I want to know.
I don't fucking know. I stripped the wires down so there was no plastic, and I put them together so that they'd light up and apparently catch fire too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And then you just throw it away.
No, I've still got it. Actually, that's what I ended up doing. I ended up splicing a cord off of something else. It turned into a real Frankenstein piece of electricity.
Nice. I really enjoy that. What we got here? Flow state. We got any more used to listen to?
On Discord. Good to hear you around. Thank you.
Sagittarius rising, Discord, beautiful.
See, I
Holy
knew something.
Shit, I've got a whole nother system I've got to learn.
Fenty Deluxe. I can't help but wonder what that name is in reference to. How do you spot ENFPs? Normally, because they tell me they are. And I don't encounter a lot of them in the wild.
Oh, now, you don't encounter a lot of them in the wild, but I will tell you how you spot an ENFP.
They're stupid ass sunglasses.
And this is just, well, they like pop culture. They love pop culture, whether it be K-pop or Britney. God, I'm showing how dated I am. Britney Spears or whatever fucking bullshit pop has come out that's absolute garbage. They love. They absolutely love with a passion. And if it's frilly, they need it. They need it. It's so stupid.
But like I said in my last video, the ENFP Facebook group is pretty off the chains. If you can stomach the
political bullshit,
politics. And actually, I rejoined the ENFP group to drop the link to my last video. I forgot that I had left it because the admin. Oh my god, I don't even want to get into it. Like,
I need to hear this. I'm a drama slut too. I need to hear this. Get into it.
Because I'm trying not to be like mad at this shit. Although it's shit that makes me mad. Even though like I understand these people are not coming from like a bad place. It's just almost too much. I mean, it is too much. That's why I left it.
You're being ambiguous as fuck right now.
Pinned announcement from an admin. In consideration of the events the past week, we have made a decision that we will not provide a space that allows support for white supremacy. Support of the Trump administration is undeniably support for white supremacy.
What? Okay.
See, and that's
what's their logic behind that bullshit?
There is, I don't know. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 more sentences below it or paragraphs that I haven't even read because it doesn't matter. And she and I won't see eye to eye. I'm trying not to fight on social media because it's fucking waste of time. I understand that the media, the mainstream media, does try their damnedest to portray him as a white supremacist, even though he's fucking not. If anybody, I mean, like, see, I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole. You and I both know
we're not going down. We're not going down this rabbit hole.
It's goddamn Joe Biden through and through. But I'm not going to go there. So, anyways, that's why I left the group in the first place.
Yeah, leave that rabbit hole alone. I'm okay. I'm not going to get political tonight. I don't care for it. I'm not doing it. Not going to do it.
Okay. I'd argue it's more TE than SE. Oh, wait. Hold on. TE has a tendency to want to control their environment, and so does E8. Also, organization and desire for self-control. Not in socionics. SE is more dominant, and the easiest way to explain that is to just illustrate the differences between an SLE and an LSE or ESTJ.
Yeah.
And so ESTJs are not conquering. They're efficient. But there's how do you put it? It was Victor Golenko explained that power is located in the beta and gamma quadras, not in alpha or delta, because again, this is very socionic specific. Power and the desire for it is centered in SE specifically. So SI types just don't have the desire for it, and in my experience, that holds true. Mike Hart thinks duality works best with the gays. Mike would know better than me.
No, I disagree with that. But hold on a second. I've got to try something. My headset's dying. So I'm going to unhook it and see whether or not my speakerphone actually causes issues. And next time I will plan better.
Alexandra Cruz, I just dropped my astrology info down there, so you can pull up my chart. I don't have that off my head.
There we go. That works. How's this sound?
Sounds good.
Outstanding.
Ooh, I think they are.
Take a role managing valid trans people when whoa.
Yeah, see, the cult of, or the church of woke is unfucking bearable.
Can't do it. I can't do the fucking church of woke.
Not only, I mean, I think that is most pronounced in the treatment of the trans issue. I thought that until I've seen how Black Lives Matter becomes such a screeching point, until you point out that, like Black lives are also the ones that are suffering and being lost as a repercussion of the recklessness of the Black Lives Matter movement. There's no talking to those people. There's no arguing with them. And I don't know if they exist.
There's no reason to listen.
There's nobody coming up to me in real life shrieking, respect trans. Respect trans.
Oh, no. Here's the problem that I have with it is that you're trying to make the exception the rule when in reality you are the minority, thus you are the exception. Doesn't change, especially. You care if I get a little political here?
No, take it away.
Okay. Here in America, we have the Constitution, in which case it really bothers me that it took so long for women to be able to vote. I mean, they were U.S. citizens too. And then people of other ethnic groups to be able to vote. Why was this even a thing? I don't understand, but it was. Now, just because you're trans doesn't mean that you get treated any different or because you're special. If you want something special, then you need to go somewhere else. You are an American citizen, thus you are protected under the same rights as the Constitution, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, that being said, when your pursuit of happiness impedes on other people, that's when it stops. And I just don't understand the whole trans thing where it's a special thing. Then again, on the same note, the laws and how people are treated are still not awesome and amazing either.
I don't know if I want to jump. Okay, I do.
Yeah, we can jump. We can jump back out of this shit.
Oh, I mean, the trans thing drives me nuts because it really invades your ability to have your own opinion, right? Like J.K. Rowling, from everything that I've seen, which isn't much, but you don't have to believe, you don't have to have right thought to be respectful. And having a different opinion is not disrespectful. Disrespect is disrespect. When I'm disrespecting somebody, they know it. There's no mistaking it. Nobody's
There's
gonna.
there's no mistaking a disrespect from you.
What's disrespectful is seeing someone's alternative opinion and lying about them and labeling them something derogatory, knowing full fucking well that's not what they meant.
Now, here's what's disrespectful. Now, I'll tell you what's disrespectful. When I walk up to somebody in the gas station, so I get out of my van or my truck or my car, whatever fucking I'm driving at that moment in time, and I go inside, and I have this person in front of me, and they are a different culture from me, a different color, a different race, a different sexuality, a different whatever. And for me to verbally abuse or treat them any differently than I would anybody else, now that's fucking disrespect right there. If you were to go up to somebody, if you treat everybody equally, then we wouldn't have a problem. But here's the problem: people don't get treated equally, and people don't treat other people equally, and that becomes a huge issue. That's just a simple, hey, and roll with it.
That's a thread through all of the woke mentality is, creating unity by subdividing people into ever increasingly smaller groups, and demanding special treatment for that. Except for us white men, we're getting left the fuck out. But the trans thing in particularly really bothers me because I've done the research. Because of two things. One, they're pushing the agenda at minors. And first of all, I don't think that at some age, that's not in your head, and that shouldn't be. You don't need a fucking grown-ass lady man telling you to think about this shit when you're trying to play Legos. The other thing is a lot of the justification for it is premised on lies. I've looked at the numbers. I've looked at the stats. Trans people are not at any greater risk of violence than non-trans people. As well, the claim that it helps prevent suicide, that's also straight up false. There's a lot of lies in the popular narrative around trans shit. So I think that trans people should certainly be respected. They should also be an adult, because I don't know what fucking 15-year-old, I don't know who thinks a 15-year-old should get a sex change surgery. I didn't know a single thing about anything at 15. Like, sure as shit, not enough to get a permanent surgery electively that's irreversible. Certainly not enough to lop my dick off. And if we're gonna respect trans people, we need to treat it like what the fuck it is. We need to talk honestly about it and not lie and put bullshit. Like, how's that respectful to trans people or their issues, to pump the narrative full of absolute bullshit? That's going to get debunked the minute somebody like me starts looking at statistics. I mean, I don't see how that sort of mentality helps anything.
It doesn't help anything at all. And this is such a deep issue that I don't even want to fucking touch it.
Should we move on to the next thing?
Yes, I would prefer to move on to the next thing.
E8 is the most likely type to forbid his wife to get a job and stay home, so she'll stay dependent on him and submissive to him. Let me think about it. I don't. Well,
there's not any particular type. There's not any particular type, though. There are specific types that would do that.
I don't think that I can put a type to that either. I mean, I'm E8 pretty thoroughly. I've encouraged my ex-wife and Katie's really functionally more of a wife than she ever. I've always encouraged chicks to have jobs.
Actually, I think
But,
Katie's
that
good
doesn't
for you.
resonate with me
You
at all.
asshole.
Huh?
I think Katie's good for you. Just saying, my opinion.
Yeah. So I don't identify with that, or that doesn't resonate with me personally. Although I can see how you might think that, but I don't think that that's correct. Really.
I don't think it's type based. I think it's more culture based, along with insecurity based, and with it actually more of an enneagram, if anything, with the insecurities. But I don't know enough about the enneagram to actually speak on it, so I'll leave that one alone.
But yeah, so that's gonna be. Even though I really tried to give that opinion its fair shot. Like I'm not there with it.
Actually, you know what, Taylor? On that same note, let me roll with this. Is that and I'm going to roll with John Beebe for a second here. Is each one of the functional slots? He's got 8, just same as Socionics Model A, and very similar in the way they operate. But each one has its own little quirk. So you have your hero function, which is your lead in socionics or your program. And that's overpowering. It's operating all the time. It's what everybody fucking sees. All right. So if you're raised in an environment where you have where the man feels the need to control everything around him, that could extend to the women in his life. Then you have the parent in BB, or the creative in Socionics Model A. Now, that being said, it's a tool. It's a tool to be used by the lead function or the hero function. All right. And that being said, it's also one that is consciously used by your lead. It's one that you would use to teach other people with. Okay. And that could each one of these functions, where I'm trying to go with this is each one of these functions has their own special quirk. So depending on the culture, how they were raised, their insecurities, every type has the ability to control the people around them, the women in their life, the men in their life. This just doesn't extend to the women. It also extends to men, because there are women. There are ENTJ women with dicks bigger than me. Okay, and point blank and simple, I can see it being a very abusive relationship with certain types from the other side, from females. And that's not saying they're bad. It's just saying that they have these quirks, and it is a possibility. So no, we can't nail it down to just one specific type. Taylor, I'm done.
All right. Fenty joined us.
Yeah.
Fenty, what type are you?
Hey, I'm like, can you hear me? First of all.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Quiet.
Okay, I'm an ESFP.
Oh, welcome.
So, yeah. Hey.
What is Fenty a reference to?
Okay, that's actually a really funny story. Like when I was 13, I used to be a huge fan of Rihanna, and like her surname is Fenty, and so I never switched my like online name, and I used it forever, basically.
Here I was thinking it was fentanyl.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I think I should probably go with that.
Hey, Fenty, your voice is still kind of quiet.
Okay, wait a minute. Is it better now?
That's better. That's better.
That's much better.
Okay. So, Fenty, when you asked to join, what were we talking about, or what triggered you? Or
I'm just like really into MBTI, and okay. I don't know. I just fairly recently.
Are you just along for the ride, or was there something specific you wanted to hit?
No, I'm just along for the ride.
Cool. Glad to have you. All right, we're going down these. We all have the same rights as now.
As of now, though, no one is treated unfairly, except some of the social blah blah blah. Yeah, for now.
Oh, why is it upside down?
Hey, what's going on?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me just like fix my camera.
Yeah,
It's
take
fucked
your
up
time.
how she's being attacked. Ridiculous. Who's being attacked?
Why is it still upside down?
It might be the screen layout.
Yeah, because I just
it's not bothering us. That comment was probably about what's her face.
OG
the
or JoJo?
Right, J.K. Rowling.
Oh, J.K. Rowling. Oh, fuck that noise. I really don't care about that right now. It means absolutely nothing because of the fact that it's a political thing, of which case it's such a deep topic, and it has nothing to do with typology. It's absolutely to do with psychology and sociology as it is right now. Yeah, no.
Twitter is not real life, and neither are the small minority. Most of them are the LA loudmouths that are so ethically fucked up that they push ethics. Yes. I mean, we're all agreeing. And the cool thing is, and this is what I've really liked about, I got suspended from Facebook, and now that I've sort of backed off it, is, you know, in the real world, if you unplug from social media and from the news, like all the fuck shit in the world that pisses you off constantly, it like goes away.
It goes away, and you're so much more chill. You're so much more chill. That's the reason. One of the reasons why I keep my social media to a minimum. I am sobering up right now. Just so you know, I have stopped drinking. I hit my limit point because of the fact that I'm starting to slur. Fuck that noise. No.
Only bitches stop drinking. Isn't that right, Pitty?
Well, where's your next fucking Smirnoff Ice then? I want to hear you. I want to see this. Where's it at?
Bro, I already drank them all.
Well, you drank one.
The other one's upstairs.
You're gonna have to come out here where I'm at, and you're gonna have to drink bourbon with me, and we're gonna have a one-on-one, and it'll be okay.
Let's do tequila.
Gold tequila. Gold.
Alexander Cruz.
What we got?
Woo to me. Alexander Cruz, if you want to come on the stream and speak woo to me and tell me about my chart.
Absolutely.
You know how
come on in.
ESTP is around by the NI.
What chart? What is this chart about?
Oh, I dropped her my birth date and time and location, and she pulled my astrology chart.
Oh shit, man! She's gonna grab you by your banjo string and lead you around. It's awful.
I'm such a fucking sucker for tarot readers and chart readers. It's unreal. Let's see. People need to stop taking politics so seriously and stop being offended by opinions they disagree with. I agree with the first part. I think the second part is I see what you're saying, and I kind of almost agree with it. But on the other hand, like, politics is kind of fucking important because it's what dictates all of our lives.
It is the opinions of the masses, of which case people listen to and politicians listen to, in which case the politicians make our laws, in which case they affect us personally. So yes, they are kind of fucking important.
I got the Scottish Kiwi. Trans are at risk in Africa and in some countries the death penalty. I'm sure that's correct. In some of the countries where it's illegal to be gay by punishment of death, I don't see how you could even get to the point of being trans. That's the human rights violations of some of the more draconian third world countries, though, is not what non-draconian first world countries should be setting our
standards,
our culture and our dialogue off of. So yeah, it's atrocious, some of the things that happen to people who aren't just straight in some of these countries, but that
how
You know what, Taylor? I had a Marine. Hold on. I got this. I got to spit it out. I had a Marine colleague that said that the most important thing that separated America from third world countries was the value of life. The value of life, in which case we place it's priceless. And the one thing that separates us from other countries is that value of life. So it's really bad when we tried to change our politics to based off of these third world countries when we don't necessarily have those issues here ourselves. Instead, they're other places, but we're ending up dealing with the after effects of that bullshit.
I'm glad you interrupted me. So yeah,
You're welcome.
I agree with that, which is sort of back to my whole my central point on this topic or any other PC endangered group discussions is that everybody's deserving of respect. That is there's a human dignity that everybody gets. It's not specific to any sexual orientation or gender identity or race. It's universal.
Or culture.
Everybody
It's
gets
universal.
it until you forfeit it. And a lot of people forfeit it, but I don't see it as tied to anything. I want to hit the second part of this. Also, small town homophobia and transphobia, greater risk for violent bullying. That comes with the nature of being outside the grain. The fact of the matter is, numerically, as well as certainly historically, trans is not the norm. It's not white bread, center of the lane. Anytime something is not the dominant or the most populous, it will always be treated with that certain amount of stigma. So yes, I'm sure that trans people in small towns have a lot more social hurdles to get over, but that is the greater small town homophobia and transphobia equal greater risk for violent bullying. Okay, that conceptually
the exception, not the rule.
That conceptually holds weight, but that is the exception. I mean, it misses the point to think that this is something that can be changed or should be changed by J.K. Rowling's stuff. It also, we're purely speculating there. There is, and I've looked at the data, there is no data. Trans people, per the FBI statistics, trans people are at no greater risk of being victims of violence than non-trans people unless they're trans and black, which really means that being black puts you at a greater risk of violence, but trans plays no factor on it. So does it capture every time a trans kid is pushed down by a redneck? No. But should it? I mean, at some point, you just got to chalk people up to being jerks, right? And that's going to happen.
Yeah, people are fuckheads.
And good.
What do you guys think about all the police brutality stuff that's going on right now in the US?
Hey Taylor, you mind if I take this?
Go for it.
So the police brutality bullshit, and I'll tell you this from personal experience. I do have a criminal record, and from observation, is that so. We're going to go back to the root. Back in around 1984, the Supreme Court passed a law saying immutable immunity. What that means is that in the United States, if you're a government official, as long as you're doing something that would be seen as normal within the scope of your job, you are protected from all civil lawsuits. Well, what does that mean for us as a citizen of the United States? Well, as you sit there and somebody in the social worker setting for child and welfare services, or a police officer sits there and does something unconstitutional, they violate your fucking civil rights. Well, guess what? If you were in violation of the law, as it is in the United States, and it's seen as a normal thing, a normal operating procedure within the operating group, whether it be police or the justice system, or whether it be social workers, then it's seen as normalized and it's okay. Well, in saying that, police officers understand that they are protected, and the way that they are protected is from frivolous lawsuits saying, "Hey, you violated my civil rights." Well, it's a he said, she said operation right there. He said that you violated my civil rights. Well, she said you didn't violate my civil rights, and it's just it's a witness thing. Up until the last 10 years, in which case technology now have body cams, we have SD cards that hold 1 terabyte. We have things that were unheard of back when this law was passed. Now, a police officer can wear a body cam that has a backup that operates and is indestructible to a degree, like a GoPro. In which case, it records every instance of when they're on duty, when they're no longer an American citizen. Instead, they are a police officer enforcing the law. Now, what does that change? Well, you have these police officers that choose not to use these body cams. Instead, they go off this law, which allows them to have police brutality, allows them to go and beat the fuck out of somebody. Their job is to safely detain an individual for the law and a courtroom to decide their justice. The police officer, all they are is an implement. They're a tool. But police officers, they look at the information on the individual that they pulled over or they're about to arrest and see that this is a repeat violent offender. They go in, and as a human nature, they go in and say, "Oh, we're going to go in hard and fast, and we're going to violate your civil rights because we don't know what you're going to do. Because time and time again, you've proven that you are going to probably kill or hurt one of us. So we're going to hurt you before you hurt us." And that is essentially the nature of police brutality going on right now in the United States. Does it mean that every police officer thinks this way? No. But it does allow for those police officers that have problems, mental issues, family issues, to take their anger out and basically avoid somebody's civil rights. As for going further into this, I don't know where to go with it, but Taylor, you take it.
I dropped a link in the comments to me and Benjamin did a video. It's about an hour long, but it goes a lot more in depth into my perspectives on this. Kind of in a nutshell, though, I think that police brutality and police use of excessive force is a big problem in America. I do not think there's a pattern of individual racist sentiments among cops, but I do think that there's institutionalized racism in the American criminal justice system. However, I think that the current movements are doing an absolutely terrible job at addressing the root causes of the institutional racism. And quite frankly, I think that Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all their little spin-offs or affiliates are not interested in Black lives. They're not interested in ending police brutality. What they are interested in is basically a Marxist ideology and in exploiting the tension between Black communities and police officers.
The Marxist ideology issue. Now, Marxism and its root cause, and from what I understand about it, and this is just coming off of memory of something that I've read, is one of the tenets for Marxism is you erase a country's past so that they have no identity. That is one of the root things that is in Marxism. Now, I can't tell you where I found that. Can't tell you where I read that, but I can tell you that it's there. And that's what I'm seeing in America right now, which is really starting to piss me off.
Fenty, what do you think? I want to know what you think. Where are you from?
I'm from Germany, by the way.
Hey.
I mean, I'm not.
I have an
that
ex-girlfriend from Germany.
Oh, really? Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I'm not so knowledgeable about Marxism. The only thing that I actually know is that like Marx kind of like separated people into groups. You know, like the ruling class, and like the
And
like
I
to be
didn't
ruled
mean
class.
for Marxism to take all the attention off it. That's sort of just a caveat or a side identifier that I do think there's Marxist ideology, but really I think that you know.
Let me ask you this, Fenty. In Germany today, have they taken down any of the Holocaust areas of the concentration camps? I know that you've taken down the swastikas, but you've left the landmarks of Nazi Germany as a teaching point. Have they taken those down yet, or are they still there?
I mean, there are definitely some, let's say, spaces. Let's call them like spaces of remembrance, you know, to kind of teach about what happened. And they haven't been. I mean, I can't talk about like all of them, you know, but I know that there are like some in Berlin where I have been back in my school days, and
They're used as a teaching tool, correct, for history, so we don't repeat. And this is what I understand. I have a German immigrant, naturalized American citizen that lives a couple houses down from me, and this is what she had also said. And I just wanted to confirm that you had left up the some of the old artifacts from the World War II as a teaching tool. And I wanted to confirm that because that teaches Germany not to do that again, not to do these things, that this is bad. And that's
You're aware that
history.
he's referring to them tearing down statues, right?
Well, the statues and trying to erase history.
I'm just trying to bridge the gap. I don't know what the media coverage in Germany is.
I mean, I've heard about like that, like in America, like the people want to tear down statues, and I didn't like American people want to tear down like statues of like George Washington and stuff.
The American people don't want to. There's small groups that are making a lot of noise, and the media is drumming it up into something it's not. Most Americans don't want to tear shit down. Okay. Most Americans aren't caught up in these riots and stuff, but there are some groups, but the size of them is really getting the media is lying about how big it is or how many of them are like that. There's a fuckload of people in America like me and like SciFi who don't want to just tear down statues. No, not at all. Don't want to erase our past. Don't agree with a lot of the riots really at all. So I think the media is really misportraying it because they're drumming it up.
Yeah, I think social media is also not very good because, especially like after like that George Floyd stuff happened, like everything was just flooded with like, let's say, the same narrative over and over again. Like even here in Germany, and when I was talking to my friends, they kind of, let's say, at least like unconsciously just absorbed it, you know, let's say without question or without diving deeper into the material. And I mean, there were Black Lives Matter protests here in Germany, and people or friends I know that usually like aren't political at all, they actually participated in them. And I asked them like, do you actually know what's going on? And I think Corona also plays a role in that maybe like people want to get out.
Yeah, it does.
Like they're like, I don't want to say bored, but
everybody's in a pressure cooker.
Exactly.
But I watched all 10 minutes of the George Floyd video, the original one that the chick posted to Facebook, and there's nothing in the video to indicate that race played any part in it.
Exactly.
There's no racist stuff at all until the media gets a hold of the narrative and points out the races of the people involved. But of the 4 cops charged, 1 was Asian and 1 was black. Like it's not.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking too. I think the problem in America is like corruption or like bad police training, because like here in Germany, like
you can't even like, you have to go to university nowadays to be a cop, and you have to go to like years of training and whatever, and like mental moral evaluation and stuff. And I mean, also like
cops carry guns.
I think most of them do, but I think the big difference is that here, like the common civilian doesn't have a gun, you know. So I think like even if you're like a normal person, I think you're more on edge in America, simply because like there are more guns than people in America, you know. So I would be more nervous, I think, if I was a cop in the US than here in Germany.
I've had like a zillion times more police guns pointed at me than non-police guns.
Yeah,
it sucks. Oh yeah, a lot of them. And it's never just one. It's always like, fuck. The last time I got arrested, I had 3 AR-15s on me.
Ooh, what did you do to piss them off?
I mean, the AR-15s are like the Call of Duty type weapons, right? Like the
They raided my house. It was the 3rd time they'd raided my house that summer, and I was sitting on the back porch smoking a cigarette, and they came streaming around both sides of the house, like all tacked up. And so they came around both sides in files of 4. And they all had AR-15s and the full bulletproof vests and shit. And safety's off, booger hooks on the bang switch.
But like how for what reason can they like raid your house 3 times? Like in such a
drugs, and that's where I think the systematic racism comes in, is the war on drugs. The war on drugs really disproportionately affects Black people and minorities. And
I won't disagree there.
It's an industry. There's a prison industry in America that I don't think Germany has. And the war on drugs is how they feed it. And minorities get disproportionately sent to prison, not because the cop is racist or the judge is racist normally, but because these are a more vulnerable population.
Let me ask you this, Taylor. Do you think it's a cultural push to make it such a thing that it is a social norm for drugs, and to have drugs in the community, especially the minority communities, where as of right now, a lot of your ghetto areas are minority communities.
They don't have
but does it is the culture being pushed to say that this is okay and fuck the laws?
By popular culture, yeah.
I mean, I would take the economic approach, and I would simply say that if you're poor, the tendency for you to sell drugs is higher. So police are, and usually
it goes the other way too. If you're rich, you can afford more drugs. So
this is true.
I've lived in both parts, and I can tell you for sure, in my experience, even though more people are involved in the economics of drugs in the ghetto, in the suburbs, there are more drugs.
There are more drugs. The common housewife in suburb American culture right now is more likely to be hooked onto a narcotic than anybody else, and it's weird. It's like they need uppers to maintain their societal stature. Like they have to have that energy to take the kids to school, to participate in PTA, do the soccer thing. And maybe this is just a skewed perspective for me, but it just seems much more prominent from what I've seen personally than would be actually
well, even that's
documented.
But prescription abuse is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But it leads to Are you sure about that?
I gotta hear that. Yeah, fuck straight out.
Yeah, because that would have been.
No, I disagree.
A question from me too. You know, like I have a hard time like imaging like a, let's say, 45-year-old like mother of 2 like going to like
you need to drop your numbers a little bit for America, but
But I mean, SciFi, I'm still gonna have to like get you to fuck straight off with that mindset. The only time is when the like with painkillers, what we're seeing. When painkillers all of a sudden got hard as fuck to get, then heroin use spiked because it's a substitute. But you don't ever see a housewife crossing that bridge without a damn good reason. And the whole concept of gateway drug use, I absolutely think
the words gateway didn't even come out of my fucking mouth.
Yeah, no, I know, but the concept did.
The concept was there, but it's not the complete concept.
Yeah, well, I know but it's most of it. It's like a tricycle. You got a tricycle, I don't buy it.
I'll give you that one, man. I will give you that. Maybe I have a narrow perspective when it comes to this.
Like I don't think that the drug addict, because it all comes, that perspective is all centered on drug addicts keep needing more and more drugs that they're addicted to. Like it's just that one track. Like once you're a drug addict, once you smoke a reefer cigarette, you just need to keep turning.
But we're not going. No, we're not going with the reefer cigarette thing. We're going to go with the hard drugs. We're going to go with the OxyContin and the drugs that actually fucking make you stupid. In which case, when you get cut off from them, then all of a sudden you have to go seek something else. And that's where I'm going. That's my mindset with this.
That's true, but it's not mostly. Look, I've done all the hard drugs.
But you're also an SLE. You've also got a force of will. Do you know how many people don't have a force of will to actually say, no, I'm not going to do that?
That is true. I'm not going
to say my perspective is 100%.
There's the other thing is, sometimes you just don't do things like of all the shit I've done in my life, which is a lot of shit, right? Needles was always. But
you're still an SLE. You have no concept of the weakness that comes with a needle user. It is a weakness. It is I need this, and certain people don't have the force of will to say no. And a lot of times the culture around them says, hey, do this because it's okay. You don't have to fucking agree with me. All I'm doing is speaking my opinion.
I think that like on the topic of like gateway drugs, I think it's like a lot of it is just psychological. For example, like if you got everything you need like on a psychological basis, or like most of it, I don't think like even if you, let's say, stop using a drug, I think the propensity to shift to a higher like magnitude of drug or like a higher drug is like less, I think only like people who already have problems then tend to go to the next level.
Fenty, have you ever had withdrawal?
I mean, yeah.
No, this is not me personally attacking you. I
haven't had too hard of drugs, but
you ever had withdrawal? Okay.
Yeah.
So the withdrawal off of heroin is 10 times worse than the withdrawal off of cigarettes. Now, I'm 6 weeks off of cigarettes, and I still hanker after a cigarette. I still want a cigarette. Every once in a while, I sit there, and it's everything I can do just to sit in my chair or stay at work and not go down to the gas station and buy me a fucking pack of cigarettes and light me up a cigarette, even though I still get my nicotine. The fact of the matter is that when people don't have the force of will to actually implement it, they will go seek out something to replace it. I've replaced my cigarettes. I've replaced them with a vape. Does that mean it's any better? Not necessarily. Does it mean I'm going to kill myself faster? I don't think so. But these people that are hooked on painkillers or something similar, that is, Taylor, you have a force of will. You have an anima about you that says you are going to do what you want to fucking do. If you say that I don't want to do drugs, you're not going to do drugs. If you say I don't want to drink alcohol, the only reason why you drank a Smirnoff just now because I was drinking a beer. That's the only reason. You weren't going to drink anything because you don't need it. You said that you don't want it. Some people don't have that. And that's all I'm trying to say right now.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, on one hand, there's like the, let's say, like the psychological or like biological component, which we can, let's say, describe
Pain is a
through
pain
MBTI.
is a motivator.
But on the other hand, I think there's also like, let's say, like a social or like environmental factor. You know, for example, if you have like a strong community and have been raised, let's say, in a community with like strong values, even if you're not, let's say, the type to have like a strong will, I think you can maybe persevere. You know. But
you can if that is the social culture at that moment in time. However, that being said, if the social culture at that moment in time says that you've got to keep going regardless of whether you're in pain and need help, then you're going to find what you need to keep going to maintain social equality.
Here's the environment, and I absolutely agree. The environment does play a role in what you'll use. But what I guess what I was objecting to was the concept of the ever escalating addict.
Well, do you know how many people actually overdose when they do drugs? Those that have quit and have come back. Those that have what's the word I'm looking for? That have regressed, relapsed. They've relapsed. Now, when those people have relapsed, they don't realize that they don't need the same amount of drugs that they needed before. Thus, also, they overdose.
Normally, when people
this is true.
Overdose, they're taking more than they realize. That's why fentanyl is such a big deal. That's why ecstasy is a big deal, because you don't ever know what's in that pill. It's normally because people are not aware of what they're actually taking.
This is very true. Also, this is a true statement. So there's many different factors, and does it make my perspective any more true or any less true? No. Does it make mine completely correct? No. However, I do wish that you would consider the perspective that I present and at least factor it into what you're saying. That's all I'm saying, Taylor.
You know, there's a lot of truth to it. Can't argue with that.
Peacefully. It doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, but it does mean I do think there is a factor that has to be factored in with all of that.
I'll agree. I probably reacted too much.
You know what, motherfucker? It's okay. You have so many people that come against you and say you are wrong, that you automatically fucking come at me and say you're wrong, motherfucker, because I'm right. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because you know what? I understand. The one thing this is all digressed from typology to the point of where we're having to go back and forth. But I'm going to say this much: typology has allowed me to say, you know what? I still love you, brother, for who you are, and I'm okay that you disagree with me, because I understand the perspective that you're coming from and understand where you're coming from, and it's communication. Communication is all about typology.
We lost Fenty. Fenty's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Fenty's back.
And you missed some gay shit. Don't go again, because he got real gay in here.
I'm not fucking doing it again. Shut up and leave me alone.
All right. Yeah.
And not as gay as your Smirnoff Ice, though.
That was pretty gay. But you know what? My girlfriend bought it. So how gay is that?
What type are you, SciFi, if I may ask?
I am an ISTP, and in socionics, I would be your supervisor, in which case I'll offer you the logic that you build upon.
We are conflictors. We are like the worst possible pairing.
But it's okay. It's okay. You're actually a pretty cool dude, and I thank you for being here.
I mean, usually when I know I'm with a person who uses TI or who's more TI dominant, I'm trying to be more collected with my thoughts and try to be,
guard yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm trying to be more neutral and not like so invested into what I'm saying as usual. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
I mean, I've seen Flow State's video about ENFPs. I personally found it hilarious. I showed it to one of my ESFP friends, and he was very offended. But I see a lot of ENFPs and ESFPs and how they behave, and then I think like I can't possibly be like that. But you know, like as I think more, I'm like, just like statistically, it's like better to assume that I'm more like them than to assume that I'm like special in any way, and so I'm trying to keep that in mind.
Well, you know what, that's a learning thing, though. Here's the thing about typology that I've absolutely loved, is to understand that you have a perspective. It doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that necessarily that you're wrong. It means that somebody has to consider what you say. It's just like Taylor right now. He had his thing he wanted to say. Doesn't mean he's right. Doesn't mean he's wrong. But he must be considered. Each individual. Jung originally typed out. He originally had 8 types, from what I understand. Myers-Briggs took it out to 16 types, in which case that's been carried as the standard through socionics and all the rest of the fuckheads. Now, that being said, we've got all these different perspectives. They all can't be right and they all can't be wrong. They must be considered because each point has more information than another point. Thus, if you take it as a collective whole, it becomes either right or completely wrong. And maybe that's just my TI and my limited scope of view, but that's okay.
No, I think no, I agree. I think what like MBTI and socionics, what it has helped me with is to recognize, like, let's say, certain behavioral patterns in me and in my friends, you know, like certain, let's say, biases that could come up. And so I'm trying to remember myself or to remind myself of, okay, maybe maybe in that moment you're too invested in that. You're too emotionally invested and maybe not like, how do I say it? And you're not investing too much energy into like the logical side of things, like at least for me as an ENFP. And I don't know. I think typology can do a lot of good for people, but I think it has let's say marketing issues maybe.
It has bad information issues. It is not a fix all solve all. It is not the answer to everything.
That's the thing. I think also it's very hard to like quantify what's being said in, or like to test it for truth, what's being said in typology, or let's say what Carl Jung even said. Because I actually bought his book, like how's it called, like Psychological Types. Yes. And a lot of it is interesting, and it seems true. If you read it, it seems true. You know, even if you like when you explain like introvert and extrovert. But how do you want to psychologically like measure something like that? You know, you can only approximate it through behavior, and that's what Myers-Briggs also does. You know, for example, like, I don't know, ENFPs are bubbly, but what if you meet an ENFP who isn't bubbly? Is he then not an ENFP, or what's going on? You know. That's something like a common problem I've noticed, or phenomena.
Well, Jung, when he was going about his business, from what I understand and what I've read, he was a therapist in a way, and all of his patients were those that needed psychological help one way or the other, and he used this as a tool to determine which aspects to work on. That's all he did. And I think it's been carried too far in a way, especially in those pop culture circles, that absolutely degrades the original information. Where the hell did Taylor get off to?
My computer died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think pop culture has like turned, let's say, socionics or MBTI into characters of sorts, you know, into like, or caricatures maybe, instead of like the underlying principle of that, like Carl Jung or socionics was trying to describe attentional and like processes. What an ugly word to pronounce.
You're close enough for government work. Keep going.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, sometimes, yeah. Like here in Germany, or let's say, I think outside of let's say English-speaking countries, it's not so much known. I've talked to a couple of psychology students. They know a little bit about. I mean, obviously they had Carl Jung, and they talked a little bit about the test, but here in Germany, it's not so well known. So sometimes I'm trying to. I don't want to say.
Oh, you're a dickhead right now. Yo, keep going, sir. I'm not talking.
But I have one INTP friend of mine. He actually showed me socionics. He's very intelligent, but also very he's not very organized. So he has a hard time actually making something useful out of his intelligence. But I actually lost my train of thought. I don't even know. I don't even know where I wanted to go with this. But
you were good though. You absolutely hit on a couple things where, and one thing I want to key in on was the fact that I have a brother-in-law who is a licensed psychologist. He only in his college, in his university, from what he has spoken to me about, has only had a couple mentions of Carl Jung, even though Carl Jung and Freud, and there was another gentleman that did, Taylor, you might know his name. There was a third one that did, fuck, I don't know the name of it right now. But there were three of them, and Freud got his work out before Carl Jung, about 2 years before. Now, when that happened, Carl Jung came out 2 years after and said, hey, I've got this overarching system that says, hey, this explains how people think. And he was laughed out of the society because of the fact that Freud and his compatriots thought that Carl Jung was trying to usurp them, was trying to take the power. It was just a prideful thing.
But it's I mean, it's kind of ironic because Freud, I mean, Carl Jung used to be Freud's student, and Freud himself in one of the teachings, he said that the son is going to kill his father or something along that lines, And so it's kind of ironic how Carl Jung essentially tried to kill him, but not like literally, but let's say, through his work essentially, or yeah, that's how it happened. I think Carl Jung was closer to the answer, whatever the answer is, or he painted a more accurate picture, I would say, or a more helpful picture. But Freud definitely laid the groundwork. There was Freud and then Jung, and I don't know who will come afterwards. But where are you right now?
I'm actually in my front yard. I just walked out to my work van and grabbed my hard hat. I saw Taylor being a dickhead with his hard hat on, so I couldn't help myself.
I don't know. It's 1:30, I guess, in America.
Yeah, it's 1:30. It's 1:30.
Okay. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, but it is 12:30, and I got to answer this question. My favorite metal bands are Slipknot and Korn. Actually, not in that order. Korn first. Korn is the best band of all time. However, lately I've been listening to a lot of Seether and Boba Flex. So I recommend all that shit. My my Spotify handle is in the chat. If anybody wants to follow me for some of the best music, except I let my subscription lapse. So I need to do that. Also, if anybody's a student, I need to use your student ID discount so I can renew my Spotify subscription. Because my cousin just graduated from college. Fenty, do you like metal?
I actually don't listen to metal at all. I used to listen to it a little bit when I was playing a lot of Call of Duty, actually. But I only remember one song. It's called "No Stars Over Bethlehem," but I don't even know the band anymore. So that's a song I can really recommend. But
SciFi, thoughts on metal?
Hell yeah, bullet, 5 Finger Death Punch, and I'd have to go with Slipknot.
Hell
Korn
Yeah
is a close second.
Fantastic band. Hell Yeah is one of I should find. I've seen Hell Yeah a shitload of times. We went backstage a couple times. I tried to.
They're outstanding in concert.
Oh my god, they're so good. I tried to pick up Vinnie Paul's girlfriend at the time. She didn't want nothing to do with me. Like, she was polite and stuff, but I wasn't like making any progress.
At least you tried.
Although we are Instagram friends, and he is dead, so maybe I have a chance now.
Do
Katie has anything to do with
listen to techno, by the way? Do you guys listen to techno? Is it like a thing in the US?
Oh.
In the right circles, it is. I don't listen to techno much because I'm a little bit. I think I'm too old.
I mean,
How old are you? It's not as big a thing as in Europe either.
Yeah, it's like really huge. It's like really huge here.
I do like some of it. I just don't know a lot of it, and I never really think to put it on. But I'll take recommendations.
Wow. Losing It by Fisher, very popular song. It's not so techno heavy, but I think it's a good entry level, and then you can pivot from there.
All right.
But it's like really huge. Like here in Europe, techno is really fucking huge. There are a lot of like techno festivals and stuff, or used to be. People love it.
What's it called?
Losing It, Fisher. I like the artist is called Fisher and Losing It.
All right.
I'm losing it.
I'll listen to it later. Yeah, I've got a few songs saved that I like, but I don't know a lot of techno anymore.
Generally, if they put on techno, I'll listen to it, though I don't know any of the names of the bands. It's not offensive. It's not offensive to me. So it's just one of those things that it just absolutely is. It goes with the flow. And 9 Inch Nails is another one that I wanted to throw in.
I really like 9 Inch Nails, so I should like techno.
Yeah, a really hard thing. Like when you're like in the club and you have like no internet connection, so you can't like search for a song, and then you're just like asking your friend like, "What's the song called? Like what are the lyrics, or how does the song go? Like how the hell are you supposed to describe a techno song?" It's like.
I don't think I've ever been to a techno concert.
Let me put it like this for you. You ever been to the Fairy Forest up in Michigan? You should visit at least one time in your life. That is an interesting fucking sight. I'll tell you that right now.
But where, how, but like, at what times do Americans consume ecstasy? Because maybe I shouldn't say it that loud. But like in Germany,
house parties, all sorts of stuff. Like I've been to a couple raves. I've been to a ton of house parties. I always took it at house parties, really.
Oh yeah, that makes actually a lot of sense.
Here we go.
You know what, though? I did see a comment that got my attention. He's not feeling ISTP vibes, man. Oh, man. I'm being vibe typed right now. Oh.
Can you play? Can you play the guitar? Can you guys play like an instrument or something?
I can play the drums, and I can
guitar.
I can play like 3 songs on guitar. I can play "Come As You Are" by Nirvana. I can play Adam's song.
Do you actually like Nirvana?
Yeah, I do.
Me?
I'm sorry.
They're not too bad. They're not too bad.
SciFi, see the picture. Look, compliment my awesome picture.
Oh, that is an awesome picture.
Right?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Can you put? I just noticed last second that you were in the picture. I was like, okay, like who's the like? I just noticed you were in the picture. You're like in the last second. Yeah. I need to put the big. Yeah. Now I see it. Oh, crazy, man! Best day of your life, I guess.
No, that was one of the best days of his life. That was just one of the high points.
I mean, that's the third time or the second time I'd been backstage. I'd met them before. That's what a speedball looks like right there. But yeah, that's me in the middle, and that's Katie, my girlfriend, beside me. And that's hell yeah. The lead singer is to my right. He was also in Mudvayne, and Vinnie Paul is to her left, and he was also in Pantera. So those are the kind of the two heavy hitters. But
yeah, I think I've heard of Vinnie Paul before. Isn't he? Is Vinnie Paul like a fairly known guitarist? Is like
he's a drummer. He's a drummer, and yeah,
okay,
he's pretty famous. He died recently, but he was in Pantera. That's how he got big. Pantera, Damage Plan, hell yeah.
I didn't know he was in Damage Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Through the smoking flames till we conquer them all. Beep, 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 beep.
But yeah, when I was backstage, and it was not that concert. It was a different one, but I ended up talking to his girlfriend a little bit. I didn't have any luck. Hell yeah, he was in Damage Plan. Yeah, okay. I had
we got any more comments?
Oh, probably. I don't know. The nature of these things is they go longer than our stamina. So I'm surprised we've gone almost 3 hours. Feel free to dip whenever you want. That's what that is. Let's see.
Radiohead is good.
It
had no man. It wasn't lack of exposure. It just is old.
I mean, it was okay.
It was all right. Yeah. I don't know.
Korn is the shit.
Korn is the shit.
Here's how much I like Korn.
And Skrillex.
I'm 33.
Is Skrillex techno? Technically.
Yeah. But man,
he's like dubstep. He's like dubstep is like I think a subsection of techno.
Yeah. Skrillex is a shit, yo.
Yeah, but that was Korn's like worst album. Oh, here's.
Oh, fuck you, man! I actually really enjoyed that.
The Super Deluxe Paradigm Shift.
Yeah. Oh, what is that?
So there's only like 250 of these made, but it's when they did the Paradigm Shift after Head came back from like a 10-year hiatus. It's a double vinyl. I can't even get this thing on screen.
Oh, you lucky bitch.
Yeah,
that
double
is
vinyl.
Nice.
It's got just a whole bunch of Korn fanboy shit. Custom art book, like a custom. It's just all the like specialty shit that they put in Super Deluxe edition things.
I'm a little bit envious right now.
Like,
I'll admit that right now.
This is a fucking zip drive that's got only instrumentals on it. It's a Skull zip drive.
Oh, that's nice.
Looks fancy.
Yeah, I mean, I paid enough for it. When I met Jonathan Dave, I met Korn in 2009, and it's the only celebrity I've ever gotten tongue-tied during. I'm like, They're like, do you want us to write anything special on your hat? I was like, no.
No.
I mean, it happened to the best of us.
Oh, you fanboyed the fuck out, didn't you?
Straight out.
Oh,
and here's the thing.
Adorable.
To get that meeting, because it was at Rockfest. It's an all-day music festival with like 2 stages, 30 bands and shit.
It's like Rock on the Range.
Right. And so the autograph booth, each band is there for like 30 minutes at the autograph booth. And Korn went on. At this day, Korn was on at like 2 p.m, and at 2:30 was Corey Taylor, and the line was just fucking miles long. And so me and my buddy Jake, we ended up managing to cut the line, get past security, cut the line. Almost like security didn't see us, but the big fat white women who were like on Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor's got some fat chicks in his fan squad. They all about lost their fucking minds. So they almost beat us up, but we escaped that. It was a good time.
We got next couple of years. We got to go out to Boston for fucking St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, I hear they got some good bands out there.
For Mighty Mighty Boston's?
Yep.
Yes, we do. I need another concert in my life. That's what I miss most about coronavirus is concerts.
It's lack of concerts.
Yeah.
Since
I'm
in August.
Live. What's going on? Having some fun. I mean, yeah, you can still go out, but like, yeah, it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. And I think there's a lot of, like, I don't want to say that Corona may not be dangerous, but I think how it's handled by the government, like the world governments, I think it's very, I don't know, inefficient, or I don't know how it's supposed to be handled, but
ridiculous.
Excuse me?
Ridiculous. That's how
maybe ridiculous, but it's not. It shouldn't be handled like it is handled right now, and like tanking like the whole economy. I think there's more damage done like through the actions taken by the government than through the actual coronavirus itself. But
I absolutely 100% agree.
Let me ask you this, Fenty, and this is a personal opinion from you. It doesn't even have to be accurate, but do you think that the death toll has increased since the coronavirus has come into play and since it's been made aware? Do you think the death toll has actually increased across the world, or do you think it's actually remained stable?
Okay, across the world.
Yes. Here's my reasoning for that question for you, is the fact that a lot of these people, especially where I'm at, they're usually immunocompromised or they're elderly, in which case we don't know how many years they have left. Do you think it's just weeding out the weak as it is right now? As much as it sucks, is that something that you're seeing, or am I just misinterpreting?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there's like agency or something, but like from the governments. But I would most definitely. I think that probably most people who would have died through the coronavirus would have died anyways. Sounds hard. Or would have died, like, let's say, in the foreseeable future. So that doesn't mean that it's good or we should like just let it happen or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, weeding out the weak. Sounds hard. Like, I don't want to talk about, like, let's say elderly and sick people like that, because I mean, I'm young and fit.
It sounds harsh when you say it like that, I know. And on the same note, when it's put in that phrase, when you have somebody that is immunocompromised, and the only fact of the matter is that they're alive because of first world medicine and the safeguards that we have, and the fact that we know about most viruses, it really bothers me that we're not doing more in terms of like the ICU units and the old folks homes in the United States here. They should always be pretty much locked down and pretty much kept kind of isolated to a degree, not free movement in and out, because of the fact that these people are elderly. They are reaching the endpoints in their lives. They are, if they're in ICU, they are under duress, like they're on the edge of life. So it is logical to keep them kind of isolated. On the same note, when does their quality of life actually become worse because we've isolated them instead of letting nature take its course? And this is just a purely theoretical question.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that when I'm old, when I'm at that stage, I assume I wouldn't care, but that's an assumption. Like, I can't predict. I mean, I got any first, but I don't want to say that I know how I think when I'm like, let's say 70 or 80.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say, just straight like from a monetary standpoint, I would just say, instead of like tanking the whole fucking economy, just take like a shitload of money and be like, okay, let's try to conserve and preserve like all the risk groups as best as we can, you know, while trying to preserve some like how do you say it, lifespan, some life quality, some quality of life, you know, because it doesn't make sense to me to shut everything down, and we're losing so much, like just like from the money standpoint. Like, I mean, if I would have any say, I probably would have said, let's keep most things running, and instead let's just give like all like the elderly people and all the facilities that are supposed to care for the elderly and sickless, just give them a shit ton of money so they have enough people to survive, even like without like the rest of society, you know, so they can just work independently or whatever. Seems to me like the cheapest solution. And but
you know,
you can't put a price tag on life. That's what they say. So,
but they do it all the time. That's a cop out for the.
That's true.
Yeah. Taylor, I've got a question here. We got an Ethan McDonald here. What's your relationship with the environment around you, i.e., activities? What the hell does that mean? It's ambiguous.
It's a broad SC question. I don't know. Ethan, you're gonna have to pull that in. Let's tighten that up. Jojo, sorry to hear that. Get him off the vent.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, easier said than the coronavirus thing. It's a touchy.
You're actually one of the better people to ask about this because you are an ENFP or self-identified ENFP, in which case I won't disagree with it. Would you disagree with it, Taylor?
What was that?
The ENFP statement.
Well, me being an ENFP. Like, it was, let me tell you about my testing. I mean, obviously I did the test myself, but it was like the fastest and easiest test I've ever done in my life. All my friends looked at like the result and they were like that must be like an autobiography of you. That was I don't even know. Like, I did it in like I was seeing my friends like struggle and taking like 30 minutes, 1 hour to answer the damn question. I was just like, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, no. I mean, but I think, at least in my case, it also has to do, like, I'm quite extroverted and quite talkative. So I get a lot of feedback from like people around me, positive and negative. So when I was looking at the question, I was just like, what did people tell me the last 25 years, you know? And then I just went from there. And so for me, it was easy. But a lot of times, like, people look at the questions and then they're like, am I actually extroverted? And like really extroverted people. And they're like, am I actually, I mean, sometimes I'm extroverted, sometimes I'm introverted. That's usually the questions I hear when they answer these kind of questions, you know, or yeah, sometimes I do talk a lot, but sometimes I'm quiet. I'm just like, I don't know.
What do you do?
Me? Who?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm talking about my testing, like about.
What do you do as a career? What is it you do with your life?
I'm working in the social field. Like, I'm currently studying, but I'll be working in the social fields after I'm
pretty ENFP-ish.
Exactly. I mean, otherwise I'll be a famous guitarist, right? So
it's hard for me to it's harder for me to type people who are a different nationality. Certain things come across different ways. Like English, like people with British accents always come across way more SI and they really
Oh,
are.
really?
Yeah. So I just have to peel back what's a cultural behavior and what's a type behavior.
Yeah, that makes
sense. That makes a lot of sense right there. And you're gonna have to come out where I'm at, fucker. That explains a lot right there.
But I'm familiar with your brand of redneck.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You've got to come out to Appalachia, bro.
I'm married into Memphis. That's almost there.
It's almost there, but not quite. Memphis is like the melting pot of the South. Like they've got one of the biggest Chinese colonies down there in the United States.
Well, I never saw any of them.
And yeah, they own every fucking gas station and fucking grocery store in Memphis.
I thought they're all in
and
Canada.
More redneck than I am.
Oh yeah. Look, I learned something. Chinese people are like the rednecks of Asia. True.
Oh, that was good. That was a good one.
Yeah. Now that you're saying it, actually, I remember like a friend. Like, look, that's all just like an experience from another person. Okay, not to say that I'm racist or something, but a friend of mine told me that he once went to China, and he told me that he perceived them to be incredibly rude, you know. But like in that particular city that he was, like they were burping and they were just like, let's say there was an obvious lack of usage of FE in the day-to-day affairs. They was essentially describing, to put it into MBTI terms. I mean, obviously it's just one experience, but that's just like right now what I remembered.
I mean, that sort of jives with my experience. It's funny, because yeah, I used to live. I mean, not that long ago. The place I lived before here was really in the ghetto, and the laundromat we went to for a while was owned by a Chinese guy, and God, he was a dick. Except he was really nice to us because we're white.
Yeah.
Which was weird seeing him seeing an Asian or a Chinese guy be racist to everybody except for the white people, which of course then felt sort of racist because it's like, what, you think we got money or something? We don't. We're here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I don't want to say reverse racism because for me racism is racism, but let's say,
which is exactly right. That's exactly right. Racism is racism.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to. I'm telling you, man. ENFPs. I'm working in these social fields. I mean, not to say that I'm not prone to these biases too, but I was like this one girl, and she was arguing that racism is only something that can be perpetrated by white people, and I was just standing there like, I don't even know. Like, she's so far gone. I don't even know how to argue with her.
Which is crazy. I mean, you just got to tell people like that. Look, to say that somebody is cursed to have this problem because of their race is the cornerstone of racism.
There's like this guy which I can really, really, really recommend. He's like 24. I've never seen a 24, like a guy my age be this articulate and like this mature. He's called Coleman U, like Coleman, and then Hughes, and he talks about like Black Lives Matter and that kind of stuff. And he put it like really like he essentially what he's saying is like that there are like two schools of thoughts about the racism issue. There's like the, let's say, historical context thought, whereas you see racism as something, as like a historic event. And that's like where my friend was arguing from. She was like, since it usually, generally in the Western context, racism was perpetrated by white people, let's say, it's like something that is being perpetrated by white people. And then there's like the humanist approach, which sees racism more like as a irrational, irrational behavior. That would be, I think, what both of us are ascribing to, as in to infer, let's say, negative.
But it's not actually even true that white people committed the racism. And I mean, In America, America happened to be divided that way, but there's slavery still all over the world. Muslims are allowed to have slaves for their religion. Black people were selling black people to the white slave traders. That just happens to be.
You forget the one thing that's still rampant in America is the sex slave trade.
Oh my God. Yeah, slavery is, while it might not be out in the open like it was, between inmate labor and sex trafficking, slavery is really still alive.
But as I said, please just watch one video of Coleman Hughes. He's like,
okay, hold on, tell me that name. I'll look it up. So I've got it in my search.
Look it up and send it to me.
And if like, I don't know, he has the potential to become like the president. Like, if the person is that good at 24, I'm not exaggerating.
Again?
Coleman Hughes. I'll type it in. But yeah, Coleman Hughes. Maybe I'll find a link or something. Type it into chat. But he's like he's an INFJ, by the way. So just I assume he's an INFJ. And yeah, he already had like a couple of famous guests over at his podcast, like Neil deGrasse Tyson or something right now. And yeah, just watch one of his videos, man.
All right, I will. It's in my to watch stuff.
Yeah, he may be. Yeah, Joe Shabadoo says she thinks he's an INTJ. Maybe true. I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely INFJ or INTJ. I'm leaning more towards the INFJ part because it's assumed to see TI or to witness TI.
Hey,
yo,
Taylor, you need to bring Ethan in. I want to talk to this dude. Ethan,
send me a message on Facebook.
Ethan McDonald. I think I've seen him on Eric's chat. Oh, I have a question. I've seen like like a couple of weeks ago, I've seen the debate between Jack and Eric. You know, talking with famous people.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I'm like subscribed to Eric, so kind of caught me off guard that he went into like such a, let's say, rage mode. And so, like, I actually have two questions. First of all, I don't quite see the ENTP in him. And second of all, why do you think, maybe like from an MBTI perspective, why do you think Eric felt so triggered in that moment?
What was the part of the question?
Excuse me?
What was the first part of the question? Why was he so triggered?
What type do you think Jack is? Because I hear ENTP. I don't see it as much, but I don't know. Okay. I don't know.
I think Jack is an ENTP because I have known him a little bit longer, and I remember what he was like when he was a younger, wilier, more obnoxious, less domesticated fellow.
A little shit-eating dog. I see how it is.
That said, like it's a different type is not out of the question for me. I just think that he is an ENTP. I think that's the best fit type for him, the most likely one. But I do understand why people doubt that. The other part is, why did Eric feel so triggered?
Yeah, why?
Because I think that Eric. Did you see the videos leading up to it?
I didn't actually. I didn't.
Okay, so there was a series of videos leading up to it, but Eric, it all started when Eric made a video saying, my type is better in socionics, and here's why, and Jack will never argue me. And I suspect what Eric was doing was making a clickbait video, and he got himself trapped in an argument that he didn't think he was going to have to go into. And I think that he realized that he had a shitty position to argue from, and I think that he got mad and he threw the debate.
Okay.
Hey, Ethan, you've been summoned. Are you jumping on this or what? If you're jumping on this, Ethan, send me a Facebook message. But your clock is ticking.
Yeah, FE is hideous. Or can be hideous. Sometimes, I mean, my mom is an ENFJ, and like, we're quasi-identicals, and we always talk past each other. We always, like, communication was effortlessly. You know, we can always talk about stuff, but if we're actually trying to understand each other, it's like we're talking past each other all the time. I mean, I love ENFJ women, actually. They always make my eyes feel very good. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Ethan, the way.
I am about live streamed out. I'm gonna take off. Good talking, guys. Thanks for watching. People who have made it this far. Venti, thanks for joining us.
I'm out myself. We'll do this again some other time.
We will do this again.
All right.
Be good, guys.
Later.
Yeah.